Hi, Mr. Miklik here, College, Career, and Experiential Learning Coordinator for the Muskego-Norway School District. Today I want to talk to you about Connect Academy. Our pillars are college, career, community connections. We want to help our students make informed decisions of next steps along their career path. We also want to help bridge the gap with K-12 educational system and industry partners. We want to use these connections to help our students network so they can learn from real-world experiences. We have 6 levels of experience. Our first level is our career fair, where students can learn about different opportunities that are out there. We then progress into level 2, which is our discussion panels, where we take a variety of different speakers from the business or industry to help guide students about opportunities along those lines. We then move into our level 3 experience, which is our mentors, job shadows, and where we get our students out to the different industries and business partners to see firsthand the things that are out there. We also provide micro internships for our students, which is usually a week-long experience where they can see firsthand what an industry looks like and talk to real-world industry professionals. And then our level 5 and our level 6 is our work experience portion of the Connect Academy, where students could potentially get into a career internship and gain real-world certifications and job experience within the careers they're looking to go into. This is our program, and this is how we are better preparing our students to make informed decisions on next steps and helping industries solve the workforce shortage. If you have any questions at any time, reach out to me so we can talk about this program. Muskego-Norway School District, I'm proud to announce that Jeff Peterson is this year's keynote speaker for our career fair. Jeff is the co-founder, CEO of Geneva Supply, Inc. and Interstate Music. He's the creator of Biztank. Jeff is going to talk to you about social media, branding, networking, and the importance of these tools that are going to help prepare you for next steps along your career journey. Muskego-Norway School District, please join me in welcoming your keynote speaker, Jeff Peterson.
What do you want to be when you grow up? This is that question we've all been asked throughout our entire lives. And if you go back to the times when you were asked that question, I think you'll realize how difficult it was for you to actually give a real answer to it. And why is that? At different stages of our lives, we've had different stages of experiences. As a society, we make those decisions for our careers as we've tried, failed, and learned about those opportunities, those jobs. We learn through experience. So what I think is important for us to start to realize, as we start to talk to kids about answering that question, we have to understand that they are picking based on experiences they've had. So if you start looking at some of the answers that we get, kids are saying they want to be a fireman, a police officer, a doctor, maybe something that their parents do because they are experiencing that or seeing it firsthand. Maybe it's on TV. Maybe somebody came to the classroom and actually talked about their job. A lot of kids actually say they want to be a teacher. Why do so many kids want to be teachers? Because let's face it, they build relationships with who they go and spend the most time with. So Mr., Mrs., Miss, so-and-so in the classroom that they really, really like, kids decide they want to do and be exactly what they are. I think it's important for us to start to understand that the best way for kids to actually direct themselves and figure out what they want to be is by us actually offering those experiences to them. We have something to look back on that actually helped us understand this process. And I don't understand why we don't put more into our career future as we did basically like food. As an infant, we start eating soft foods. Then we grow up to solid foods. And even in the medical world, they start talking about, do we actually give them dairy or peanuts or introduce other types of foods because of allergies or our body's not quite ready to have that in our system, so we react to it in a purposeful, in a positive way. We should start looking at that process that we've gone through the same way when we start expecting our students and our kids to figure out what their path looks like. As we start to want to get better answers, we have to start realizing we have to start giving better solutions. So instead of asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? Maybe the best thing for us to do is start to say, hey, this is what I do. Would you like to know more about it? Ask me any questions you have. Or, hey, I know somebody that does this. Would you like to try that? Would you like to go get that experience? Because I think the most important thing is we realize as adults that we figure out what we like and what we don't like based on what we've done. So why should it be any different for the kids in their process of figuring out what they want to be? Do they want to go to college? Do they actually want to get into the trades? Do they want to get a 2-year degree? Do they want to go to the police academy? Whatever that might be, it's all going to be based on those experiences, whether it's a job shadow, whether it's networking, whether it's programs that introduce them to more of those careers that are out there. I think the most important thing is being exposed to as many careers as possible. Once we start to get past 7th, 8th grade and get into the high school and college years, it's going to start to be more of a value to go out and get those experiences than to just sit back and think about what we might want to do. There's a huge investment with our futures, and I think it's important for us to start to realize that the stress that we put on those kids by asking that one simple question of what do you want to be when you grow up can start to get more factual and stress-free if we start to help them explore the opportunities that are out there. So what is career exploration? And when should it start? It actually starts a lot sooner than any of us realize. And it's not because we're the ones asking that question or trying to get it to start. Take a look at what these kids have to say, and I think you'll understand how early it actually does start.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be... Hey, I never thought of that. Let me think about that. Whoa.
I want to be a teacher when I grow up.
Elementary teacher. I like little kids.
A babysitter.
A pastor.
Dolphin trainer.
A dental that eats bugs. A haircutter.
A person who helps in charities.
I'm a cashier at Walmart.
An author. Chapter books about mythical creatures and animals and things.
I want to be a lawyer.
Lawyer.
Pilot. Pilot. And a dad. A pilot racer dad. Scientist. Paleontologist. Mine for dinosaur bones and studies them.
YouTuber.
Movie star.
A famous actor.
Actor.
On stage.
On TV.
On Disney Channel.
Or commercials. I gotta be a model.
I'll work it.
If I want a model, I'll just be a policeman. Police. Police officer. A cop. I want to do car chases. Catch bad guys. A superhero. Batman. Spider-Man.
I would like to go into the U.S. Army because my grandma, she loved the Army, but she never went into the service.
I want to be the third African-American gymnast. Gymnastic coach.
I want to be a professional dancer.
Dancer.
Dance teacher.
Ballerina.
Professional soccer player.
I have a shirt on right now that's for Barcelona.
Soccer player. Basketball player.
Basketball, football, or soccer player. Or baseball. I can never choose. I do not know. I'm still working on that.
Maybe when I grow up, I'll pick. I already have a whole plan. Serve the Air Force for 20 years, become a businessman, make my own company for cars.
I want to be a Pokemon trainer. I want to work at Target. I want a cake. I want to be a pop star. Rock star. Singer. Singer.
I want to be a cook, but I don't really know how to actually cook. I want to be an artist.
Painter. I want to be an artist that goes around painting walls. An artist and a video game maker. Video game designer. Video game. I want to be a filmmaker. Whatever my dad is.
Do you know what your dad is?
I'm not sure. I would be a doctor. Doctor. A mermaid. A mermaid doctor. Heart surgeon. Neurosurgeon.
Cardiologist.
Gynecologist. Pediatrician, the kid's doctor. Pediatrician.
And why do you want to do that?
I want to be a doctor and then I can wear rainbow sweatpants.
I really want to be a nurse. Everyone says you have to be very good at science and math. I'm not really, but I still want to be one.
I want to be a pet doctor because I like helping animals. Pet vet. Veterinarian. Zoologist. Princess Fairy zookeeper.
How much do you think they get paid?
$29.
I remember that exact moment when I was asked that question when I was a kid. I wanted to be a football player. So it becomes very, very obvious to us why they answered that question the way they did at the age that they are. But now that you're a junior or senior in high school or even in college, when does that career exploration actually truly start? It starts now. It starts right now. It starts when you can actually start to take control of what that looks like. Because you actually are in control of whether or not you're going to go out there and make something happen. You're going to go out there and ask those questions. You're going to go out there and go follow somebody on their job for an entire day, a half day, a couple of hours. You're going to go out there and start to experience those opportunities and start to use that to figure out exactly what you want to do. Now, you don't have to have all of the answers, but you do have to take that responsibility on once you hit high school and you're starting to figure out whether you want to go to college or not. You do have to take some responsibility on for yourself to go out there and explore and figure it out. Now, you can go out there and get those experiences in a lot of different ways. And it can come through job shadows. It can come through community service. It can come through a summer job that you have. And let's face it, sometimes we look at those experiences and those jobs as unimportant, just something to be doing to keep ourselves busy. Maybe it's just something to earn money for spending money or to buy a car or to put towards college or something else that's important to you. The fact of the matter is, flipping burgers at a restaurant or being a waiter or waitress or washing cars or helping somebody out, it really is part of you having that chance to ask those questions and find out more about the business, find out more about customer service, find out what it takes to actually commit yourself to working those hours every single day, because that is part of building yourself up to actually be successful and giving those opportunities and experiences to figure out what you want to do. So keep your head on a swivel, because those opportunities come by more often than you think. And I think it's important when you're driving down the roads and you're looking at all these different companies and all these different types of businesses that are out there, start to figure out what you want to go explore and what you want to try. Because these are the years that you're going to be able to formulate those decisions, and I don't want you to pass that up. Take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. Take advantage of the people that you know or the people that they know. It's all out there for you to figure out, but give yourself a little bit of ammunition so that you can better educate yourself for making that decision. I cannot stress this enough. Put everything into what you do. And when I mean everything, I mean all of your time, all of your effort, all of your focus, because there's so many things that I can go back on and wish that I put more time and effort into. I think every adult would have a story that they could talk about I wish I would have. I wish I would have cared more, put more time into. Because if I could sit here and explain to every high school student and college student across the country and say how important it is to understand that what you're doing is what you have to do. So put the time and energy and focus into it. Even if it's that class that you don't think you're ever going to learn anything or need anything in the future for, there are things in everything that we do that we should be able to focus on and learn from. If you have to sit through that class, you might as well pay attention and get something out of it. I think it's also important when we start to talk about all the different organizations that we're part of, the different sports, the different commitments that we make. Don't just check the box. Focus on what you're actually doing and get something out of it. This isn't all about building your resume with a bunch of words. This isn't about putting on a college application, a whole bunch of organizations, because you think it makes you look better. You have to care more about the time you put into things and what you're getting out of it, because if you're putting the time into it, you have to get that return. Don't just check that box. And there's really something that I think all of us need to realize is you will learn something from everything. Everything that you do, there's a message to it. Every conversation that you have, there's something that you're going to get from it. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's from a teacher, a parent, a brother, a sister, you're going to learn something from every conversation that you have, every job that you experience. I think it's really important. It's that I care factor that is going to change you from somebody else to win that race or change the game or finalize a decision and elevate you to that place that you want to be at so desperately, and you want to be what you want to be. It is going to start in that process of caring about everything you're doing along the way. Ask now, or you'll forever wish you had. I say this all the time to high school students. And the reason I say it is because there is a window of opportunity and time in your life that people are more apt to try to help you with your future and answer all of those questions. If you remember when you were a little kid or you've babysat little kids and they're always asking that question, why, how, what do you mean? I don't understand. There is a tolerance that comes with age and comes with that experience of that student. So the big thing is you have to understand this is your time. So participation is actually still part of your grade in the outside world. You have to be the one that is creating that timing, asking those questions, getting those answers, because now is the time that you're trying to formulate what exactly it is you want to do. And if you're not asking those questions and you're not connecting and trying to make those dots play into your path, you're losing that timing. Because once you get out into the real world and you actually have a job, people start thinking that you've got to figure out those answers on your own. You've got to come up with it by yourself. You've already hit that level that you can go talk to somebody else, or I don't have time, I've got my own job to worry about. Let's face it, people naturally want to share. They want to share their experiences. They want to share their stories. If they're asked questions, they want to give you those answers because they naturally want to help you. And I think you have to understand that if you don't ask those questions, you will not get those answers. It sounds so simple, but your student years are not the time to be quiet, to sit back and just let life come at you. Your student years are the moments to go out there and force yourself into the world because you have to take that responsibility on for yourself. So, when it comes down to it, you need to start networking now. You need to start building who your circle of, I would say, circle of mentors, circle of the people that you can trust, that you can go to and find out information. Start that now, because when you do go out and get your job, you've already established that relationship and kind of that partnership in communication and how you work with each other and how you're there for them if they're there for you. So we talk about that all the time about whether it's LinkedIn or other social networking platforms. What is that age to start? When you're in high school, a junior and senior, when you're starting to be asked, to figure out exactly what you're going to do, that is the time to start building it for yourself and start to understand that the network that you're creating and asking all those questions, it's now. So this is a hard point to kind of get you to understand because it becomes very sensitive and more personal. Because personally speaking, what you have to realize is you are what they think you are. Now, I'm not saying you're not an individual. I'm not saying not to try to be you and not conform to society, but you have to understand when people don't know you, there is a level of reality to the fact that they're going to look at you and have a thought about who you are, how you're holding yourself. Do they think you look like you'd be reliable? Does it look like you're a hard worker? There are things that we all, in our own minds, and I wish it weren't that way, but people will make those judgments long before they get a chance to put the time into getting to know you. Whenever we go and we start school or start a new job, in those brief moments that you get a chance to know somebody, those first impressions, people start to assume things and make those judgments about who they think they click with, who they think they can count on, who they think they can go to for information. So it is important to start focusing on what your brand is. When you get to be a junior or senior in high school and then on through your college years, you have to start focusing a little bit more on your personal brand because you can figure out exactly what it is you want people to see in you. And you can start to create that and control that and put that out there so that people don't pass judgment on you that might be something that you don't want them to think. So your personal brand, it is what you put out there, what you post. So you have to understand that socially speaking, clean it up. I know you want to live out there and you want to be different for your friends and you want to look like this is how your group of friends acts and these are the things that you do. But as you start to understand that your next steps are more about what's happening outside of your group of friends and more about what you're trying to be as you move through your educational process or what you're going to do after high school or what you're going to do after college. And that starts when you're a junior, senior in high school. So make sure you understand what exactly you have on your social platforms. Go out there and look at your Facebook. Go out there and look at your Instagram. Look at the pictures that you have. Go all the way back to when it started. And let's face it, you don't have 2,000 friends. You don't. None of us have 2,000 friends. You have to start understanding who you actually know and what they can share from your profiles and your content. When employers are starting to look for people to invest their money into, it starts to be an investment of who they want to work for their company, and they're going to look at your social media. So make sure that you've got the person that you want them to see and know and understand versus maybe some things that you are doing or posting that isn't going to put you in the best light. I get it. You're young. But you also have to understand you have to start looking at your future a little bit differently now when it comes to social media. So you have to figure out what platform you're going to start to create that branding. Yes, clean up your social media, but also start creating your experience platform, which I would suggest developing a LinkedIn profile. This is going to be a chance for you to share work experiences, the type of person that you are, the organizations that you're part of, certificates that you've earned, and stay on top of it, because that, again, is going to be any job that you get, people are going to start looking at your LinkedIn profile. And they're going to be impressed that you've taken the time to actually put yourself out there and start to develop that. So when it comes to personal branding, start branding. Career exploration for high school students has become almost a mission of mine because I realize there's so much of a struggle with students trying to figure out, should I go to college? What should I major in? What do I want to actually do for a career that I'm going to enjoy and love and kind of want to sink their teeth into? And I think that is the main reason why I came up with the nonprofit program Biztank. Because Biztank is all about career exploration. And it's a program that allows the students to actually understand other people's journeys, because those are truly the ones that are going to pave their way. So by understanding and listening to other people's journeys from where they thought they were going to be in high school, what they thought they wanted to do, and the path that they took to get them to where they are today, there's so much valuable information inside that journey that we can ask questions about. We can find out, why did they leave this job to go to this job? They were making this much money, but they were willing to make less money. They thought they wanted to be in finance, and then they ended up being an engineer. What triggered that? What would they have done differently? And how much did they enjoy the journey, and how much of it was a struggle? This is what helps take that pressure off, that stress off of the high school students today. And also, if we can do that when they're in high school, as they're growing through and figuring out after high school whether they go to college or not, it gives them something to actually kind of build upon and be able to look back and say, hey, you know, so-and-so that I saw speak or that I talked to or asked questions to, they went through something similar. And still being able to, you know, as I often mention, build that network of people that you feel you can reach out to and actually ask those questions, because those are lifelong relationships that are going to help you through some tough times. I always want to make it clear as well that don't shut doors to places you've never even seen yet. And this comes into a situation when you're looking at what you want to be and the different jobs and the different career paths that you might want to go. Don't just only focus on things that you know or people that you know that have done these things. And that is a big part when you say career exploration, that's the exploration part. Go out there and try things or talk to people that do something that is in an industry or a field that you've never even dreamt about or think you're even qualified to be in, because knowing what they do and knowing what's necessary, you never know when you're going to be able to pull on that information and other people's experiences in that for your own good. So how do you build your network? So many kids look up to people or think that this teacher or this person that they know, friend of the family, is a mentor to them. You hear them saying it all the time. But honestly, mentorship is something that you need to ask for. It's not just given. People will give you and share information and stories, but truly having a mentor is somebody that you're going to be able to sit down with, help with your thoughts, your goals, your strategies, and have them get to know you personally. Because if somebody doesn't actually truly know you and know what's making you tick, or the challenges that you're having in school, what types of classes you like, what are the extracurricular activities, what's the community service, what are those things that are helping you connect, they're just going to be a person you're asking questions to and getting some advice. Mentors can get deeper into who you are and truly help guide you. So it's something you're going to have to go out and reach for and talk to somebody and get to know them, and then ask them if they're willing or have the time to actually be your mentor. Because mentorship is a big responsibility. If somebody asks me to be their mentor, it is a commitment. It's a commitment that I'm going to be there for them, whether it's to talk to them on a monthly basis, whether it's to help with letters of recommendation, to help them network into opportunities, possibly help them find job shadows or internships. Mentorship is a commitment on both sides, and I think that's very, very important, and it often gets lost. The other thing that I want to make sure everybody realizes is everybody can be different in the way that they do things, but I want you to be different in the way that you do what you do. And I mean that in the sense that everybody thinks there's only one way to do a certain job or a certain task, but there's really only one way that you can do it. And I think it's okay to embrace how you focus on a project, a task, a job, a class, a career, an organization, a commitment, a sport. And I think understanding and having that interconnection to how you do it and how you succeed and what makes you successful in something, also what has made you fail at certain tasks. But that understanding of you being different in the way that you do it is really important, and embrace that reality, because there's not a lot you're going to be able to do about changing who you are. So understanding who you are and how you do things, that's really what's going to make it work. So when it comes down to career exploration, it really is a lot of different levels and tiers of what you're going to be responsible for, accountable for. But if you take that time and understand those steps and the ways to go about it, that's where you're going to find that success, and that's where you're going to find really your happiness. So I've learned one of the best parts about being an adult is having two things. One, that you get to go back and look at all of your mistakes. And two, you get to have that hindsight of coming up with all the reasons and things that you would have changed had you have known. And I think one of those things is the reality that if I would have known that when I was in high school and making that college decision, that it was one of the most important investments I was going to make, also one of the most expensive investments. So I always say when it comes to your biggest investment being your future, you've got to make sure you're not investing without doing all of your research. It's such a big decision that sometimes we try to downplay the importance of what you're going to do because we don't want to stress out 17 and 18-year-old kids. And I get that part of it. Part of what I've done for a career in the mentorship side, the career exploration side, and the nonprofit Biztank program is trying to relieve some of that stress. However, there is a reality to what that process is and what that decision is. And it comes down to a financial responsibility of what you're going to do. So I think it's more important now with the prices and the costs of education to really start to understand what exactly that investment looks like. Can you afford that investment? Where is it going to take you? What is the career path that you're going down? What does that job even pay after graduation, and what does it look like? is there a path to financial freedom, success, and ease, or are you paying a high price for education that your career that you're choosing doesn't even necessarily have a pay range that's going to make it comfortable for you to pay that back? Now, I'm not saying to base everything on money, but I am saying do the research on what those costs are. There are facilities and schools and universities and colleges across the entire country to help you get your education. And you have to determine with a deep honesty of what is that place that you can get it from that is still going to give you that best opportunity for starting your career and getting into the job market. We talk often about going out and visiting colleges and finding that place that feels like it fits you. But we also have to understand in life, there isn't just one place that is going to fit and feel comfortable. I tell people all the time, go out and look at small colleges, look at huge universities, and find out what the tech schools in the area look like and feel like, and start to create a path of what that might feel like for you, and figure out the financial side of it, and also what that social and lifestyle portion of it is as well. And you're going to be able to, because you know your own financial situation, exactly what that needs to look like as far as a balance for you. Because in the end, I think it's important for you to know that whatever you're taking out for student loans or for whatever those commitments are, you have to pay those back. And that is going to hinder some of maybe your goals if you've got a lot of debt coming right out of college. We sit here as adults, as you get your jobs and your finances straight, and you look at investing into a home. And I go back and I look at some of these college kids that graduate and have this student debt, and sometimes it's larger of a debt than it actually is for that first home that people are buying. So it is important to look at it all. I know we try to remove that financial stress from students, and I know as a student that's looking to do it, sometimes it's hard to look at that side of it, but I think it's very, very important to be a 17, 18-year-old kid and have that responsibility before you start making that leap. So it comes down to a maturity, and it comes down to a responsibility of what this journey looks like and where it's starting, but also where it's headed and what is going to create stumbling blocks and challenges for you to make those next steps. Because there's one thing I don't want for anyone is to not take a first job that they're offered simply because it doesn't pay enough. Because part of the career exploration, it is once you're in your career, taking on jobs, getting that experience, getting that exposure to work life, and learning from it. Because I do also want to stress that first job out of college, there's probably no way you're retiring from that company. So take it all in, get it all laid out as best you can, but be real about it, be understanding about it, and be fiscally responsible for it. So when it comes down to starting your journey, start it in a positive way, understanding what that future actually looks like. So I would like to thank Muskego High School and their Connect Academy program for having me speak to you today. I certainly hope that you've gotten something out of the presentation, the different segments that I focused on, and maybe, just maybe, there was a little nugget in there that you can take away that is going to help you figure out your path, your journey, and as parents, maybe a different way of looking at some of the topics that your high school student is going through. So it's been a lot of fun for me, and it's been a great honor for taking the time today to present to you, and I can't thank you enough. Peterson, out.
Muskego-Norway School Districts, we want to talk to you about our Connect Academy and the experiences that are going to help you along your career path. We thought, what better way to have you learn more about the Connect Academy and the opportunities are there for you than to learn from our students who are currently in the program. We have with us a health science panel of individuals looking to pursue careers in the health sciences after they graduate high school. I'm going to go through the list, introduce our candidates, and have them just tell us a little bit about what their future looks like or their current plan is. So, Maddie, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you think you want to do after high school?
Hi, my name is Maddie Ritzel. As of right now, I'm looking at going into pharmacy, specifically like pre-pharmacy. Right now, through the Connect program, I'm working at every pharmacy down in West Dallas. I work as a patient care advocate assistant, and it's a mostly technical job as I'm not 18 yet, so I can't do a lot of things with the medications themselves.
Thank you, Maddie. Zandria, can you tell us about what your next steps are? Introduce yourself and what you're thinking you want to do after high school.
I'm Zandria. I am a CNA currently, and I want to pursue nursing. I'm not sure what college I'm going to yet, but that's all I want to do.
That's still a lot. It's not just all. It's a lot you're doing. Emma, tell us a little bit about, introduce yourself. Tell us what you're thinking you want to do.
My name is Emma, and I am thinking of pursuing nursing also. And right now I work at a chiropractor's office, and I am the chiropractor's assistant, so I work with her with patients and everything.
Thank you, Emma. And then Danielle, can you please tell us, introduce yourself to the group as well as what you're currently doing?
Hi, my name's Danny. I'm also a CNA, and I hope to pursue nursing as well in the future.
All right, thank you. So the first question I want to ask the panel is I want to ask you, what is Connect Academy to you? So when you hear the word Connect Academy, what does that mean to you and the things that you are doing? Let's start with Zandria. Zandria, please tell us what Connect Academy is to you.
Connect Academy has helped me and like other students get experiences in working while also balancing schools. And it also helps us gain connections to people that can help us like in the future.
Danny, what is Connect Academy to you?
For me, Connect Academy is a program that helped me. It actually did help me connect with my job that I have now. I met them at the career fair. So for upcoming students going to the career fairs, even though they might be virtual now, they're really important, and there's jobs that you probably would not have found otherwise. But it's helped me connect again with that my employer right now, and it's also helping me get a foot in the field to know if I really want to do it or not.
And then Emma, how about you? What is Connect Academy to you?
It's a program that helps students connect and learn in different career fields, and specifically the health science, and it like prepares them for after high school and what they could expect in this field.
So a lot of you already jumped in and kind of answered what our second question was going to be, is like, what type of opportunity has the Connect Academy helped you with? Maddie, you talked a little bit about going to our career fair last year, having the connection with your employer. I think, Zandra, you talked about helping, bridge that gap with our employer and the things were there. We talked a little bit about exploratory opportunities to see what next steps are out there for us. The next question I want to ask is, what would be your one piece of advice to the high school kids, and how can they, or to younger generations of high school kids, and how should they or can they use the Connect Academy to help support them along their career path? Emma, can you answer that one first?
I think that Connect Academy really helped me and like kind of pushed me to go into and find like an internship or a job in this field, because it will kind of help me choose my path and what I'm thinking of doing and what I want to do for my future. So I think it like really helped me to like for my path, like to find my way.
Zandria, how has it helped you, or what advice would you give to younger students?
It has helped me because I get like the work experience while still doing school and don't have to worry about getting overwhelmed. And advice, I would definitely recommend doing Connect Academy because of the experience you get. And also it can help you get in contact with like different employers and stuff, and a further step in what you want to do in the future.
Next question I want to ask this panel is, I want to ask, is there certain courses you took throughout high school that have helped prepare you for your career or next steps that you're looking to do? Danny, I want to start with you. Are there any courses that you took while you were in high school?
So some classes that I took were mostly science-based classes. So anatomy, physiology, cap chem. I took medical terminology. That really helped a lot. But really any science-based classes are really good.
And Danny, one thing I want to piggyback off, you mentioned CAP, and we had a session chatting with our counselors where we talk more about this program, but you have college credit through UW Oshkosh through the CAP course, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Maddie, how about you? Any courses you've taken at high school that are helping prepare you for the next steps in your career?
As for my job right now, not too many classes kind of dealt with it since it is a more technical side. But I talk with obviously our pharmacists who do stuff in the back, and they told me that like my chem courses, because I also took cap chem and cap biology, all those courses are gonna help me like as I pursue in college and whatnot. But as for right now, I think the most helpful classes were just my everyday ones and being sociable in those classes and kind of learning people skills, because there's not a class teaches you that specifically, but it is important.
And Zandria, I'm going to pick on you just for one because I know you have this. So as we talk about classes to help prepare, you had to take a certain class, potentially maybe in summer with a local technical college before you were a CNA. Can you tell us a little bit about what that class is and what you had to do before you became a CNA?
I just took the normal CNA course at WCTC for their certification, and then I had to take the test, and then I was able to become a CNA and stuff like that.
So as we talk about taking courses while in high school, the CNA is a course that Zandria, I think, and Emma also, or Danny were also able to take so they could get their CNA certification. And then one thing to note, the Connect Academy with their work experience was able to reimburse these individuals for that certification that they got. The next question I want to look at for the team is, and some of them are already kind of hit on a little bit, but does the Connect Academy, or how does the Connect Academy help you balance work, school, extracurriculars? Emma, could you please answer that?
The best way that I balance work, school, and extracurriculars is making sure that I'm organized and I know what needs to be done at a certain time. And like I use my time during school, like if I have a study hall or a free time, and I make sure that I use my time wisely to make sure that I can balance like my work and my schoolwork. And that's, I just stay organized is like the best way that I do it.
Zandria, how do you balance all those things in play?
With a lot of time management, since I go to school and then I go to work almost right after, I have like about 2 hours in between where I can do homework, which I also use because of Connect Academy. Like it lets me leave early. So I use that to my best of my ability. And then just like getting in contact with like teachers and stuff like that and letting them know like with shifts and like if it's gonna be a little hard for an assignment, like just communicate. And but really just time management helps a lot.
So Zandria, you talked about leaving school early. What time do you leave school?
I leave school at noon. I could stay for lunch, but I might as well just go home at that point. And then I start work at 2:45. So I have like that little time in between to do homework.
And one thing to note with the Connect Academy's career internship program, which all these individuals are in, you are eligible for early release or late start if you prepared your schedule for such. It is not a requirement of the program, but it does help out the balance of those times where students can then work in multiple different things and then stay organized and be prepared. So the next question we have, and some people have already talked about their CAP credits. I want to know, are there any college credits that you will be graduating with before you leave high school? Maddie, could you answer that first?
As of right now, I'm graduating probably with college credits at Oshkosh from my cap biology course and my cap chemistry course. I don't know if they'll directly transfer over to wherever I decide to go. I'm still undecided, but as of right now, those are my for sure credits.
Great. Danny, how about you? Are you going to graduate with any college credits?
Yeah, so right now I'm going to be graduating with 10 credits to UW Oshkosh for cap chem as well.
Emma, how about you?
I have a few classes that went through WCTC, so I'm getting college credit through that, and then like cap and AP classes too.
And Zandria, how about you?
I have a couple ones that went through WCTC and AP classes, and then I'm currently in 2 CAP classes, so I should hopefully be getting those college credits as well.
Great. That's an amazing opportunity. I know in our chatting with the counselor session, we talked about all the opportunities that are out there, and each of you hit on a couple different things, whether it's with the technical college, the CAP program, AP, or some of those different options that are offered through Muskego High School. I got two more questions for you. The last one, are all of these experiences that you're working for, are these paid experiences with your employer? Maddie, we'll start with you. Is this a paid experience for you or an unpaid experience?
Right now I'm doing a internship. I started this summer, so I had more hours, but I am getting paid.
That's awesome. Zandria, how about you? Are you in a paid or unpaid internship experience?
I'm getting paid currently.
Emma, how about you?
I'm also getting paid for this experience.
Danny, how about you?
Yeah, I'm also on a paid internship.
And the reason I ask that is because out there are paid and unpaid internships, and the relationships and the program that you are a part of have allowed you to not only get that experience and learn, but you also are getting paid for the work that you're doing so that you can help better prepare for potentially the tuition cost as you move from high school into college. The last thing I just want to ask each of you individually and just have you answer it, is there any other advice you would give a younger student in preparing for the health sciences or the fields that you're looking to go into? Danny, is any other advice you'd give students?
I'd say definitely reach out to like counselors or even Mr. Micklig. They'll definitely help guide you like what health science you want to go down. But they'll help you figure out what classes to take or any certifications or even like find an employer to go through for an internship.
Maddie, how about you? Any piece of advice for younger students?
Like I said before, the career fair was really helpful for me. That's how I met my employer. I know my employer's going to the career fair this year. They're still looking for people, and it's not just health sciences. Like there's other stuff, but really use the resources that Connect is going to provide you with, because they give you those resources for a reason and they are really helpful.
Emma, how about you? A piece of advice for younger students?
Some advice that I would give the younger students is that I think that they should use Connect Academy and find an internship, because it can really help you lead into a career and get experience to know what you like and don't like and what you may want to do in your future. And like Danny said, talk to your counselors, go to take classes that can help you lead you in a direction that you want to be.
Zandria, how about you? A piece of advice for the younger students?
For Connect Academy and life in general, don't get overwhelmed. Take your time. If you can't figure out what path you want to go down, just do research about it and then figure it out. But don't overwhelm yourself. And time management and balance is very key. And for Connect Academy, use the resources that are given, use the time that you're given, and use the ability to get to leave early and go to work and get the experience, because it's really helpful.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for taking time today to talk to our younger students about your opportunities that can help guide them on their next steps. Have a great day. All right, Mr. Micklig here. We're going to continue our discussion panels with our students. I want to bring a discussion panel around students that have opportunities to get a youth apprenticeship option in manufacturing. This is a very unique discussion panel. As we look at Connect Academy college, career, community connections, one of the things we want to do is open up opportunities for our students to be successful. Each panelist on here has either started their internship experience in their junior year or is currently a junior. So we're going to talk about what their experiences look like and what their next steps are going to be. So the first question we want to field to our panelists joining us today is, what is Connect Academy to them? Alex, could you tell us a little bit about what Connect Academy is to you?
Hi, my name is Alex, and Connect Academy, I've been involved in it since junior year. I'm now a senior. It's just been a great experience to get real life work experience in manufacturing. I've worked at Inpro and Soil in their manufacturing sectors, and it's just been a good experience.
So Cody, what has Connect Academy been to you as you've been a junior and senior in high school?
So Connect Academy to me, well, I started my junior year, as you said, and now I'm a senior, and I was able to work in the manufacturing sector at Inpro Corporation in Muskego, and yeah, it's given me a lot of opportunities to figure out what I want to do after high school.
Colin, how about you? What is Connect Academy to you?
Connect Academy to me was just all about creating opportunities. Connect Academy opened a lot of doors for me. I started working at Inpro my junior year and soon found out about Connect Academy, was able to start getting credits for working, which for me was a big deal. So overall, it's been a good experience and just creating opportunities to meet people.
Bella, how about you? What's the Connect Academy to you?
Well, I started Connect Academy this year and I work at Northern Gear, and it's just showed me a lot about the manufacturing industry and has given me lots of opportunities to meet and talk with people that I wouldn't have before. And I think it's really cool how you can get credit for basically working, which I would have been doing normally without it.
So all four of you hit on something that I think is really powerful, and I want to talk a little bit more about. Was the key word was opportunities. And we talked a little bit before we came on stage here today to do this presentation today. And each of you have a unique experience and potentially a different path after this experience about where you're going to go. So I know Alex and Colin talked a little bit about they're currently working for a manufacturing partner. Alex was at Inpro in his junior year, and this year's at Wisconsin Cold Springs, and Colin is still at Inpro working there. But I know both of these individuals are going to go into what we said, mechanical engineering. Is that correct, guys? Just give me a head nod if that's right. Yep, mechanical engineers. So I'm going to start with Colin on this. Colin, how has an internship in manufacturing with Inpro helped prepare you for a future career in manufacturing?
So it's prepared me just by being able to use my problem solving skills. You know, if a problem presents itself, being able to work through it critically and solve the problem without having to, go to someone who might know. Mechanical engineers also work with their hands a lot. So being able to work at Inpro and manufacturing, being able to, learn how to use tools and figure out the proper way to use things will help me in the future and not, have to get maybe I'll be able to jump a little bit sooner than some of the other kids who might not have had experience working with that before. So just overall, the problem solving is what I feel like I'm going to take the most out of it.
And Colin, just keep your mic unmuted. And I think you hit a key point too for engineers and mechanical engineers specifically. Like you are going to be working with your hands and doing different jobs. And I will agree with you 100% that the more you have the aptitude to be a tactile learner and work with your hands, the sooner you're going to make career advancements within the field of manufacturing. Because not only can you use your brain, but you can use your hands, and that's going to be highly sought after in the future. Alex, how about you? Mechanical engineer, how has this helped you prepare for a future in that field?
Just hitting on Colin's point of using my hands in manufacturing, I'd like to continue my education and advance as a mechanical engineer. It's just been super helpful to see how manufacturing processes are done and learning what different engineers are doing in the companies that I work for. And it's just been a huge help.
So next I'm going to go to Cody. So Cody, we talked a little bit before getting up here on stage and bringing you on, and we're in an internship in manufacturing, and you're thinking a career in journalism, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So, to the people sitting on the outside, they might think there's no connection, no relationship. Is there a relationship, and has this internship kind of helped prepare you for your next steps?
Well, yeah, there is a correlation. So, being able to work at Inpro and being able to work with an actual employer and being able to get actual work experiences in a real life workplace was very helpful to me. And both my parents were in the manufacturing field their whole lives. So I was kind of, I don't want to say born into it, but I was kind of born into the field. And I don't know, they're letting me go free with whatever I want to do, but being able to be in the workplace and communicate and being at such a big corporation such as Inpro and just seeing how they operate and what they hold their workers standards to, the high standard that they have, is just a good thing it's a good experience to have.
Yeah, and I'll mimic off of what Cody's saying there too, and I'll say this to every student out there watching this today, definitely keep all doors open. Like, just listen to Cody on where he wants to go, potential journalism, but working for a large manufacturing corporation is helping prepare him with some of those soft skills he's going to need in the future. So now, Bella, we're going to cut last question in these lines here for you. So you're a junior, you're going to be a senior next year. You're going to be back in our career internship program. Since doing the Connect Academy here in your junior year, has it helped guide you or make you find that maybe you want to do a career switch next year?
Yeah, I think actually being able to go into a career and experience what it has to offer instead of just kind of guessing from the outside, but actually being able to learn things as you're working through it, it helped me figure out what I want to do next. And it has shown me like what I am interested in and what I am actually like not as interested in as I thought I would be, because it's a lot easier to tell once you actually go in and experience it for yourself. So I'm kind of looking more into the building trades, but manufacturing has helped me like learn more about my options, and also just like using tools and being able to communicate with people has also played a big part in like what I've been doing.
And those are great parts, Bella, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Is just getting out there to learn what you want to do is key. You know, sometimes sitting in a classroom or talking to people, you think you know what you want to do or what the job entails, but you won't actually know what it is until you get out there and then spend at least a year or 450 hours kind of doing that sometimes. So great questions from everybody there. Next question I want to field to the team is that, were there any courses in high school that you feel kind of help prepare you for your internship in manufacturing, or kind of prepare you for next steps to help make those decisions about what you want to do? Cody, we'll start with you this time.
So for me, just speaking in terms of working in a manufacturing workplace right now for my internship, I would honestly say like wood shop classes and autos classes are the best, because they allow you to work hands-on, and that's like one of the biggest things that's entailed in a manufacturing workplace, is being able to work with your hands and solve problems. So I would honestly say those courses help me the best.
Bella, how about you?
I also agree. I think the woods classes and also the construction and blueprint class has helped me a lot. It, like Cody said, it's given me like being able to work with my hands and just doing different projects, and like when something goes wrong, just being able to learn from that and figure out how to fix your mistakes. It's helped with like problem solving.
So now, Bella, just because we've been working together here for the last year, what other opportunities are you exploring when it comes to courses potentially outside of Muskego High School next year?
Next year, I'm planning on taking 2 classes at WCTC to continue like going into carpentry and looking over there, since there are only like Woods 1, Woods 2, and independent studies. So there's other options outside high school that you can take as well.
And I'm going to do a quick plug here on this discussion panel. If you have not yet watched our Chatting with Our Counselors, we talk about those Start College Now options and CAP and ECCP and all those different opportunities that are out there that Bella's taking advantage of next year to help get you some college coursework and guide you along your path in the future. Colin, back to our initial question, courses that you feel really kind of help prepare you for the work experience and internship that you're doing.
One class that I took that really prepared me was the robotics class, because when we were building the robots, there was a programmer and electrical, and then the mechanical side of it, and like learning and being able to experience all those different things. I found out like that I was best at mechanical, like building the robot and making it work to the specific designs of the electrical and programming person. So for me, the robotics class was definitely something that helped.
Okay, Alex, is there any course different that these 3 have not hit on yet that you think would help kind of guide people, whether they're going to be an engineer, going to do a manufacturing internship, whatever it might be?
I would like to like the engineering courses that are offered at the high school, such as like Principles of Engineering, which had some elements of robotics in it, and you're just learning, you get some hands-on skills with that. And just right now I'm taking 3D technical drafting. So just learning different how machine parts are designed just helps get a better understanding.
Thank you for that. Now, the next question I have for you is time management. Okay. A lot of you I'm hearing are taking rigorous courses. Bella's potentially going to WCTC next year. You are also working for an employer. I know some of you are involved in extracurricular activities as well. How do you balance work and school and all the things that you're doing? We'll start this question with Alex.
It can be tough at times, just with courses like AP courses and or accelerated courses at school, and then going to work right after, and then sometimes having like sports, like I play volleyball and baseball, so sometimes you have to like balance out practices and stuff, and then just having homework time and just time for yourself. You just got to stay on pace and stay on top of things and stay organized.
Cody, how about you? How are you balancing everything?
Yeah. So, I've been balancing it pretty well. One of the biggest things that helped me was definitely how senior year, through Connect Academy, I'm able to have early leave. So also with COVID, study hall first hour, I don't have to come in. So I come in later, I leave earlier. I can go to work earlier. So that just frees up more time in my day. And then speaking on like last year when I had more classes and such, I was heavily involved in baseball, but I ended up kind of sacrificing that for my job. And so I ended up quitting that. But honestly, like as Alex was alluding to, just staying on top of your work, and it'll be stressful at times, but I've been able to stay on top of things.
And I'll say too, Cody, I know you sacrifice baseball a little bit, but one of the great things I always say about the Muskego-Norway School District is we have a lot of options and opportunities, and sometimes we do have to choose, unfortunately. But I would say part of the benefits of the Connect Academy program is we try to help you balance it all, so that if we can let you leave early or late start to school, so that potentially you don't miss some of those extracurricular activities. Am I safe in saying that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Colin, how about you? How are you balancing the work-home life?
Pretty much exactly like you just said, time management, just keeping track of all your stuff, making sure you're not falling behind. What helped me is like keeping to like a strict schedule, like if I have 15 minutes at the end of class and like I have homework time, like you can get a lot done in 15 minutes when you really just put your head down and get to it. So just taking like little times in the day and just time management has really helped me stay on top of it, keep my grades up, and manage like my work and family relationship.
And that's a great point by both these parties right now. They're talking about time management. One of the things I see coming from our evaluations and reports from our employers is ability or quantity and quality of work that people do. And sometimes it's how do they balance their time management to make sure they're meeting the demands of industry. And the sooner you can learn how to balance all things, the more successful it's going to help you be in life. And I would say all four of these individuals definitely have a jump start on it, because I watch what they do every day, and they're doing some great things. So Bella, how about you? How are you balancing everything as a junior still in high school, working and doing the other stuff that you're trying to do?
I think it really helps that I have a study hall first hour. So I come in because I know I'd get more work done while I'm at school. So I can save things for like the next day and work on it in the morning, or I'll get all my homework done the night before and then just be able to work ahead so I don't have to worry as much. And it also helps that my employer is really flexible. So if I have a meeting after school or something, I can say, oh yeah, I can't come in this day, but I could come in, let's say I'm off Friday, so I can come in Friday instead of Monday. So that's really helped me a lot. And like other people were saying, just like managing your time well. And if you have time at the end of class, I have a lot of classes where it's just like you'll do notes for half the class and the other half you get to work on the rest of the assignment. So that's been helpful, just being able to get a lot of my work done during school hours so I don't have to worry about it after work.
And I think Bella just hit on a pretty big point too, as she talked about she reaches out to employers if she has to adjust or move days. one of the benefits about working through an internship with the Connect Academy and the Muskego-Norway School District is we have a relationship with these partners. And so they come to us and they work with our students, understanding that you are a student first, so that if you do have, if you know, you learn those communication skills early and talk to them, 90% of our business partners are flexible with our students so that they can meet the needs of their education, their extracurriculars, as well as their work experience. Now I kind of want to go to one of our last questions here. And we had a question here. I know 3 of you have already talked about you have post-secondary plans because you're seniors and you're going to be going to a 4-year university. One of our panelists is still a junior and kind of deciding what her next steps are going to be. So with the 3 that are going on to post-secondary education, the realities are there's a financial obligation associated with next steps and degree. So the question I have for the panels here, and you can all shake your head, is, are these paid experiences? So as we talk about these being paid experiences, they're not only getting high school credit, they're also getting money for their time spent on the job. This is a component that sometimes we don't always talk about, on how hopefully everyone's being fiscally conservative, saving their money to prepare for that tuition fees they're going to have next year. But definitely, as we bring that time into the day, there is a lot of money that can be made. I know if we just break down an average of 450 hours is a requirement for a youth apprenticeship option, which all 4 of these panelists are a part of. If we took 450 times the average of what most students make, that puts our students somewhere in between like $3,000 to $5,000 made over the course of a school year, which is a lot of money to kind of help them financially put ahead. But as young adults, you have to be smart with your money and save it so that you prepare for those next steps. The last thing I kind of want to ask each panelist, and we'll just go around the table, any other piece of advice you'll give a future Muskego High School student about your experience, the program, things that they should look for, courses, or just other things like that out there. So I'll start with Alex. Any other piece of advice for future Muskego High School students?
I would say for advice for students that are looking to explore in their careers, definitely like get involved with Connect Academy, because you can just like, you can dip your feet in your career and just learn a lot about it. And then at the same time, just take classes that are going to be raw feel of what you're getting into.
Great piece of advice. Colin, how about you? Piece of advice for future students?
For me, I would just tell them, keep your mind open to different opportunities. Don't be afraid to expose yourself to new ideas. And also, I know we were talking before about relationships with your employer. I think it's really key to, have a good relationship, just so like if you need a day off, just to, do your homework, or, you're just busy, like them like letting you do that should just be like, it's a nice thing to have. So just relationships are key, building new relationships, and then not being afraid to open yourself up to new ideas.
Those are some great points. Bella, how about you? Piece of advice?
I would say take classes at the high school that like apply to what you want to do later in life, because they'll help you, and those teachers also have connections. So you can build like relationships, like Colin was saying, and just like connect with more people. And you can also like gain key like skills and experiences that you'll need to be successful in the career you want to go to earlier than other people would if they would have waited till after high school to look into their like career.
That is a great point, and I just want to hit on that. My research still shows that the #1 way employers hire individuals, no matter what level or type of job, is through connections and relationships. Networking is key to your success. So utilize the resources that you have at a young age, me being one of them, and my networks and my partnerships, as well as any other staff in our building. We want to see you all succeed and be successful. So if we have someone that can help you, just ask us and we'll definitely point you in the right direction. Cody, last one here. Piece of advice for future Muskego High School students.
Yeah, going off of what you just said, I would say, honestly, the biggest thing for me was just like when I joined Connect Academy, the experiences we had, such as the mock interview with the actual employer and the luncheon and the job fairs, just being able to go around, talk to different people from different sectors of different workplaces, honestly, to me was the biggest thing, just because I was able to explore more on what I wanted to do after high school. So I would just say, in general, keep your mind open.
All great points. Thank you to everyone for your time today. I appreciate it. And best of luck to you in the future in your next careers. Have a great night. All right, I'm excited to introduce our next panelist and our next business partner, Inpro, who's located right here in our backyard in Muskego, and they've been a huge supporter of the high school and all the things that we have done over the years. Before we start talking about to Inpro's team about who they are and what they do, they have a short video they'd like you to watch.
Want to know what it's like to work at Inpro? Well, for starters, we're a little bit obsessed, but in a totally good way.
I'm obsessed about service.
I am obsessed with making sure that the jobs are done right at Inpro.
I'm obsessed about continual improvement and efficiencies.
See what we mean? We're just really passionate about what we do. But what does it really mean to be obsessed? It means we're innovative.
Innovation for me means developing a product that's unique and brings value to the customer, something that a customer wants to buy because they want to, not because it just meets their needs.
We're designed forward. We're approachable.
Well, if you're going to go to work, you want to make it friendly, you want to have a good atmosphere, and it makes your day go so much nicer when you walk past somebody and you say hi, and they turn around and say hi back to you. And a lot of companies are not like that.
We're proven. We're responsible.
We manufacture things for durability to make sure that buildings last longer, and we should all do that in our lives too, making sure that everything we have lasts longer and we don't just throw everything away.
We always put our employees first, no exceptions.
What I've taken advantage of is a very generous 401k program where Inpro's matching of it is 25%. So that's very unique in the industry, that you feel like you're setting yourself up for a retirement plan by saving as much as you can as early as you can.
The daycare is spectacular. It's like you have your friends looking over your kids. You could tell right away the personalities of the teachers there are just second to none. They really cared about the kids. They were their friends. They were their buddies.
We conquer complacency and vanquish mediocrity. We recognize that great ideas can come from anywhere and out of nowhere.
When people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, that gives people the opportunity to learn more, but also grow professionally and personally and drive the success of the company.
We keep improving until we've improved everything. Then we improve even more.
I started in marketing, and then I became interested in sales, so they actually put me through a program to get me into the sales program. They were really supportive of that the whole time and kind of helped me pave the way.
We make a lot of things at Inpro. A difference is one of them. We are pathfinders, problem solvers, peace of mind providers, drivers and doers, movers and motivators, innovators and influencers. We're all those things and more. It's just who we are.
I truly have been blessed working here. I got it made here, I truly do.
And yeah, you could definitely say we're a little bit obsessed, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
Now, let me introduce you to the team from Inpro. We have Jennifer Zelvetti joining us today, Jill Lehan, Dave Stevens, and Linda Bellick. Thank you for joining us today, team. I appreciate that. One thing we want to kind of know or learn more about is who is Inpro. Jill, can you tell us a little bit more about who is Inpro?
I can. Jim, as you mentioned, our headquarters are located right here in your own backyard in Muskego. But we also have offices in places like Charlotte, Phoenix, and in other parts of the world like Asia, Europe, Dubai, and even India. Who we are? Well, Inpro, we're obsessed. We're obsessed with protecting buildings and the people within those buildings. We do it through innovation, cutting edge product design, and creativity. And you might be asking, what do we make here? Well, you probably see our products every single day, believe it or not. For instance, take a look around your school. You'll probably see our cubicle curtains at your nurse's station, or the signs you see around your building showing you where to go. We make those too. You might even see our partitions in your restrooms. Perhaps you've noticed wall coverings or sheets on your walls or in the corners of those walls. We make those protective wall coverings to minimize wear and tear on your building, because it's much easier to put up a new sheet of wall protection than it is to repair or replace the whole wall. Our buildings, all buildings shift. So we build expansion joints to avoid getting cracks in your walls and your floors. And you'll see them for sure if you happen to visit an airport or a stadium. And the next time you step into an elevator, take a look around you. We design elevator cabs too.
In addition to all the great products that we make, I would like to say, from a cultural perspective, I think one of the biggest things we make is a difference in the lives of the 650 employees that we have here. We do everything that we can to make their lives better, and I think we do that.
Now, two things I want to go back to, and I'm going to go to Jill first, is Jill talked about, like, you guys are in buildings and everywhere, just kind of start to look around. And really it comes down to starting with the walls and the partitions and things that they do, whether at their hospital, they're in the office building, or they're sitting at our school. So I know protecting walls, and you guys are obsessed, I think Jill said, with that, correct? The other thing I kind of want to get to is then, so what would you say your company's niche is? Is it protecting walls, or is there more to that question? Dave, would you like to answer?
I'd love to. Thanks, Jim. Well, our niche really is, we have different markets which we serve. Two were mentioned, education, and then our spaces market, which is airports, stadiums, hotels, etc. And then we also work a lot in the healthcare. That, in fact, that's probably that is our biggest market. Hospitals, senior living facilities, etc. But the 6 divisions that we have encompass a lot of different types of work within those markets. But I would say our biggest niche really is, if you're someone that has to take care of a building, we are your go-to persons, or people rather, to be able to assist you with taking care of that building.
And I would say that's huge. Not always a high school perspective are you thinking about that, but as careers and job markets kind of start to exist, like, that is a big thing for people, because buildings are expensive and they want them to last over a duration of long time. Jennifer, I want to come back. You had mentioned you have 650 some odd employees at Inpro right here. Is that right here in Muskego?
So I would say, last that I looked, 450 would be on our campus here in Muskego. Then we have a smattering of employees that are in North Carolina and Arizona. And then, so that would be probably another 80. And then the rest are spread out globally across the world.
So as we look at those 650, and whether that's right here in our backyard in Muskego, North Carolina, or any of the different plants or spread out across the world, what types of careers do you support, and could students potentially move into if they wanted to pursue a career with Inpro?
So I guess, we as a team were discussing this, and if you are anything that you like to do, there's a home for you in manufacturing. If you are interested in computers, we certainly support careers in IT. If you're interested in working with people, we can certainly support careers in sales and customer service. If you really like to work with your hands and make things, we do that. We have, we just talked about the 6 different divisions of products that we make. If you like to be artistic, we have a great marketing department. Again, selfishly, if you like to teach, if you like to educate, if you like to, really inspire others with, educational opportunities, we have that in our employee development. So I would like to say whatever it is you like to do would be a career that we could support.
That's amazing. You start working in what I think is cool about that, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that someone could potentially start out in one place in your company, and there's opportunities for growth and to continue their advancements because there are so many opportunities.
I would like to say that we're all products of that. I started out as our national account sales manager about 19 years ago. I ended up in our HR department. I was in our training and development department. I ended up on our senior management team, and I'm now in charge of culture. So I've had, a very circuitous route for my job here. Dave started out as, one of our Signscape sales reps. He then moved into being our director or our coaching and development person, and now he's been promoted to being a director. Jill used to work in our Clickies division as a project manager, and now she's working both for Linda's team as a sales capacity and then on our team in terms of training and development. And Linda started out in our estimating department. She then moved into our support team for reception, and now she's, working as, an executive assistant. So I say that we're all products of just really having different opportunities and things crafted for us based on what we were able to give to the company.
I think it's very powerful, especially for young adults looking to pursue their future career, that they can partner with someone like Inpro and kind of grow up their career with someone in one person. Dave, question for you. You are Muskego homegrown, is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
So, normally do we have the baseball picture? We can zoom in real quick of you and Mike.
I think I do have that somewhere here. You don't really want to see it though, do you?
No, I'm just joking. But the reason I bring it up is because, again, how do we keep our students and some of our best talent right here in our backyard? Is because, we're doing this because we want to talk to our students about these great opportunities. And you know what? Just because you're a Muskego High School right now doesn't mean you're going to leave Muskego. There are great opportunities still here in Muskego for you. Just like Dave did, he stuck around and then continued to grow his career path in Muskego. So next question I want to ask, I'm going to ask to Linda. Linda, what types of educational levels does someone need to work at Inpro?
Well, it really depends. Our requirements are a high school education up to a college degree. So if you take a look at your job path and where you want it to go, it really depends on what you're interested in. But, here at Inpro, it's like no matter what your path you're taking, Inpro always encourages you to develop new skills and to learn new things. And if someone is interested in furthering their education while working at Inpro, we have an education reimbursement program, and we also have an employee development department that can help you further your education and find a different career path here at Inpro.
And I'll just piggyback off that. One of the reasons I love working with Inpro, there's so many reasons, but we're both considered top 100 workplaces in southeastern Wisconsin. And to our students and our families, we care about you and we try to help you grow in anything that you want to do. And Inpro also has a top 100 because, as Linda's saying, they want to help and support you in your development and growth as well as career, which is something rare, I'd say, in employers nowadays. So if you can find someone to help cultivate your career, just like we are helping cultivate your education, could be very powerful in your next steps. The next question I have, I think, is for Jennifer, because it's kind of her title and what she does. But Jennifer, could you tell us more about the employee culture, what the culture is like at Inpro?
Sure. So I would say that we're atypical because we say we're employees first. Most businesses that are for profit are going to say that their customers come first. We don't believe that. We believe our internal customers come first. Obviously, if we have happy employees, just having happy customers is just something that's going to come. We're very supportive. So just as Linda was alluding to, we support the whole person. So in terms of your educational efforts, whatever you start at Inpro on day one is not who you're going to emerge from 5 years later. We want to help cultivate you. We want to help you grow. We want to help you determine what it is you want to grow into and give you a career path, not just a job. I like to say we work hard, but we play hard too. My group gets to educate you on things for your mind, but then we get to develop, different types of events and programs and services to help you have fun, to celebrate you, to celebrate all of our successes. So we're a very tight-knit family here. And so, having been off site for the past year, kind of off and on, has been difficult, but we're coming back and we think that's great. And then just from a facility standpoint, my group takes care of that as well. We like to make sure that we're supporting you in terms of the aesthetics and the safety of the building. We obviously subscribe to our, our own philosophies about using our products and being obsessive about the buildings that we house you in. So from all the different facets of you as a person and an individual, we're here to support you.
That's awesome. Dave, the next question I want to ask, and I'm going to direct towards you, is a lot of times students always kind of want to know what the return on investment is going to be in their career, their education, their future job. What type of pay ranges could someone expect if they were to work at Inpro, from entry level to advancements? What type of benefits are there when it comes to that?
Well, great question, Jim. We have terrific benefits here. In fact, I think they're second to none. And if you're looking for a place that will reward you for your high performance and for your energy as it pertains to learning and changing along with the world and technology, we do compensate very well here. And we're competitive with other types of companies like ours in the marketplace. So our starting wages are very competitive. And people, as you grow and grow your talents and your responsibilities, you can expect an increase in that regard. But I think we have a second to none package of benefits.
That's awesome. Jill, I think it was you that hit on earlier that the worldwide headquarters is right here in Muskego. And then we talked about other plants around the U.S. as well as the rest of the world. So if I were to work at Inpro, what type of city or environment would I expect to work in? So Muskego is a southeastern corridor of Milwaukee. What about some of your other places? Are they big cities, small cities, rural? What could I expect if I were to work for Inpro?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to visit any of those other places. However, our North Carolina plant is located in Charlotte in the Matthews area. Our Arizona plant is located out near Phoenix and Mesa. And there's offices in Dubai and India, Asia, and Europe. So all over.
And I would just say what's kind of cool to that is Wisconsin's kind of notorious for exporting some of its best talent out to the East or West Coast. And if you were to find a future career with Inpro, it sounds like you have a lot of opportunities all around the world on where you might want to go or work. It just doesn't have to be in Muskego, Wisconsin.
That's true.
The kind of last question, impromptu, I want to give to the team, and we'll just kind of go around the table with it, is anything else you want Muskego-Norway School District students, families, or community to know about Inpro that might help them make an informed decision about next steps in their career path? I'll start with Linda.
That's a really good question, Jim. I got to be honest with you. I've worked at different places here in southeastern Wisconsin, and bar none, Inpro has been the most helpful when it comes to my career path, the different opportunities here. And for it to be right here in Muskego is ideal because obviously I live around this area too. But I mean, I cannot sing its praises enough. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Jim. We also won a new award as one of the best places to work in the United States. You can't beat that.
I did not, but you're exactly right. That's amazing for the United States. Jennifer, how about you?
So I am one of those adventurers who grew up in this area. And then I did move to the coast. I lived on the East Coast for about 12 years. And you know what? I found that I really missed that Midwest connection. I missed the values. I missed the topography. I just missed the people. And I can tell you that I've worked at some Fortune 500 companies, some very large firms. And coming back to Muskego and working for Inpro has been delightful. I have the opportunity to make a huge difference. I'm a big fish in a little pond, so to speak. I have complete autonomy and opportunities, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'd have to say that we are a big thinker in a smaller city, but I think it's the best job I've ever had, and I've had quite a few.
That's awesome. Jill, how about you?
Thank you, Jim. I feel privileged to have had the opportunity to take on a role at Inpro. They've really helped me grow as a person. The environment here is second to none. I feel so honored that I get to work with people that I enjoy working with and get to do a job that I can honestly say I truly love.
Thank you, Jill. Dave, how about you?
I'm really fortunate to be here. I feel really fortunate to be here. Never did I think in my wildest dreams when I was growing up here that I'd end up working here and living here, and my kids going to school here too. So I really feel fortunate. I'm very proud of the community. And Inpro has allowed so many people to grow their careers, learn new things, and most of all, be happy in what they do and be passionate. And there's nothing better than waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to work and I feel great about it.
I would agree. I've worked with this team long enough, and just to mirror what Dave's saying, like these individuals and everyone I talk to at Inpro really do enjoy their job. And to students looking to pursue future careers, it's not always going to be about the money. It's going to be about finding that culture, that fit, and that company that's going to support you. And I think Inpro definitely has all it takes to support an employee and kind of just create and cultivate a great working environment. So team, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for talking to our students and our families and our community. I appreciate all your time and efforts that you spend with us.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
I am honored to talk to Karthik here from Milwaukee Tool as we continue to explore different businesses right here in our backyard of southeastern Wisconsin. Milwaukee Tool is one of the people that are a big player in the market. So Karthik, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the opportunity.
So the first question I want to ask you, tell us a little bit more about who is Milwaukee Tool on a regional stage, national stage, and even potentially a worldwide stage.
So Milwaukee, we are one of the biggest power tool companies in the world. In fact, I'd probably go to the extent of saying the biggest. So we are, as a company, as you know, 1924 is when we started. So the journey for Milwaukee Tool started in 1924. And then, they were doing well with a lot of AC tools. And as you know, throughout our times when the recession happened around the 2008-9 timeframe, that's kind of when the new leadership came in. They wanted to pivot, and then we started exploring. We were one of the first folks to explore batteries and tools, so that we could go from corded to cordless tools, and that explored, and we expanded our market. So to give you a sense. We have gone from about, in the Brookfield area, we've gone about 200, 250 employees 6-7 years ago to now about 2,000 or 3,000 employees. And our expansion has been is phenomenal because, we are at the Milwaukee or the Brookfield location, which is our headquarters. And you probably heard of this in the news as well. We bought out space in Menominee Falls now, and all the other places as well, because we don't have enough space for people to come in. So so even if we did go back to working not remotely and working, in the building, I don't think we're able to right now because we have so many people, and that tells you the expansion we've had. And as a company, we are headquartered in Brookfield, but then we have manufacturing. Also here, and then in West Allis, and then in Mississippi, and of course internationally in PRC and Vietnam. So we have manufacturing everywhere. Distribution and service locations are located throughout the country. I mean, we have so many service locations here, and so many managers take care of different pieces of that. And of course now we are increasing our presence in EMEA, Asia, everywhere else as well. And you would see a lot more of our tools coming up. And interestingly, you asked me this question recently. One of our vendors out in Europe had sent us a few pictures saying how a few of the buildings and a few of the other winter snow courses were using a ton of Milwaukee Tool tools. So I know we're getting up there as well.
I know it's really cool. And you mentioned a couple times, you just talked about the headquarters is right here in Brookfield, Wisconsin for Milwaukee Tools. And you talked about that growth and that expansion, and now you're nationally and worldwide, and you have all those other opportunities that are there. And one of the reasons I am so glad that you're able to speak with me today is, we want to just kind of open our students' eyes and our community's eyes about great opportunities that are here in Wisconsin and the amazing jobs that can be here with partners such as Milwaukee Tool. So thank you. I'm excited just listening to you talk and hearing from what you said, like 300 employees to like 2,000 employees. That's huge.
Actually, as we speak, the number might be even 3,000. I don't know, because we have about. To be honest, Jim, we have about close to somewhere from 800 to 1,000 positions open. Okay, and a big chunk. The goal the HR team had was by the end of 2023 or 2024, they want to fill all these positions. And I can tell you that they won't be. Probably they will, but there's so much more positions have come up already. So it's like when we started this, and right after the pandemic, when a lot of the companies across the area and across the country, were like kind of going back into their shell, we kind of expanded, and the job opportunities in Milwaukee Tool just went up. Remotely, I can tell you again, my team personally, in our February group, we have at least onboarded 20, 30, or maybe even 40 people. We haven't even seen them because they're all onboarded remotely. Because we need people.
That's awesome that you guys would be proactive and moving forward. And as you're onboarding these 20 or 30 people and you have all this growth, it kind of leads us right into my next question for you. So what types of jobs does Milwaukee Tool support? I've heard you say manufacturing. You've said HR now. You said you're growing exponentially. So as a young student exploring career paths and maybe they fall in love with Milwaukee Tool and want to work for you, what types of jobs, could they potentially be seeking, pursuing, or preparing for?
Right. So there's a wide variety there, and the good thing is we are expanding everywhere. So it's not just one area versus the other. So based on where the students are in their careers and what their interests are. So let's say, for example, someone likes sales, right? So they want to do business development. So there's a huge potential area for sales. And then we have marketing, of course, because as our marketing campaigns are they get so creative, man. It's just, and in some other places, when we go to some schools and some universities and stuff like that, people really like the way we, some of the folks take over the marketing folks, and of course, finance. And with expansion comes finance. So you're not only talking at that point. Sitting in Brookfield, you're controlling finances across the world, like what happens here, what happens there, what's going on in Europe and Asia, it's just exciting time to be, in Brookfield, but global, and this company is giving you the opportunity to do that in all these facets. And that brings to this supply chain and logistics, right? So that's a whole other field. How are you going to get the tools in place in Brookfield, and how are you going to send it to different customers, not only in Brookfield, across the country, across the world, and how are you going to collaborate? I don't know, someone from, imagine this, someone from Germany could say, hey, I need, 1 million tools tomorrow. That's a challenge. As a person who's a professional, once you come into the company, once you start working, getting more responsibilities, you want stuff like this. You want these challenges, and you will always constantly be faced with these challenges, which will only make you better, right? And of course, HR, like I said, we need to hire 1,000 people. I know they're not going to be able to. HR needs to hire for them first, and then hire for the rest of the company. So we have that, and of course, talent acquisition becomes a big thing because we are looking for. From early career, all the way from internships to like mid-level, senior level jobs. So talent acquisition, that's a growing field as well. And training, so training people on the tools, training people on the technical side of things and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Now for people or students who would like to I don't know, you would have thought about yourself as becoming a teacher at some point, right? I mean, the same kind of thing could apply here as well. And I kept the last thing because it's close to my heart. It's engineering. Engineering, I mean, man, you got everything. I mean, we're working on everything from machine learning, IoT, to the actual tool, the motor control, the battery. I mean, you have the whole spectrum of computer and electrical engineering. I mean, you know, who would have thought? I mean, when I'm asking you this, you tell me, you would think an Amazon or a Microsoft or someone will work on cloud technologies, will work on stuff, right? Milwaukee Tool does that. You know, so it's just exciting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And Karthik, like I'm just listening to you talk at HR, financing, manufacturing, engineering, saving the best for last, right? And it's like almost safe to say that Milwaukee Tool potentially can support a career in almost any of the career clusters out there. And you just have so many opportunities for people to kind of explore and grow. I think what's just unique about working for a company potential like that is the opportunity for growth. And that kind of leads me to my next question for you here is, so what types of level of education or experience do people need to work at Milwaukee Tool? I mean, are there entry-level jobs where they can graduate and get right out of high school? Do they need a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree? Do they need 5 years experience? You know, what would someone need to start working for Milwaukee Tool?
You know, again, I mean, your question is layered in the sense that you have all the way from, you know, depending on where they want to go in their careers. So assuming the students are already in tune to, let's say, go get a college degree, like bachelor's would get you into any of these fields, I would think. So a bachelor's degree would get you into, you know, of course, in a bachelor's in business probably would be like, you know, sales and marketing, and probably something in finance and accounting, you know, you could do with a bachelor's over there. And then, of course, engineering bachelor's can get you into all the industrial engineering, chemical engineering, battery engineering, electrical engineering. And there's so many engineering opportunities, of course, you know, because, you know, we're a powerful company which is developing firmware and hardware all the time. I mean, we keep our customers because we give them the greatest and the latest features on our tools, right? So that's always going to be there. And to your question about there have been cases here in our company for people who are working here. We have a phenomenal educational support program. So people who are here already, so let's say, you know, if you want to get your master's degree, or if you want to get your MBA, or if you want to get something else, the incentives, I mean, Milwaukee Tool pays 100%. So once you get in to upskill and to, you know, even if you want to pivot anywhere else in the company, so let's say you came in as an engineer, or if you came in as someone else, but then you want to do something else, you have the opportunity and, of course, education to go along with it, and you could potentially, you know, get paid to do a master's for free. You know, as long as you're good at it.
Now you're making money and getting a degree paid for. That's awesome.
I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, Milwaukee is really, and it's all about one of our culture pillars is never settle, keep improving. Be it the product, be it yourself. It doesn't matter. You know, you probably, this is cliche, you'd have heard this, even if you make a 0.01% change every day, that leads to 37% change by the end of the year. You know, just a 0.01% change. So, you know, it could be anything.
Great point. There's a little bit of change adds up over time. That's awesome. What's the culture like working for Milwaukee Tool?
Oh man, it's just so I'm going to tell you honestly, I've worked at a couple other companies prior to here. So I came in here as a senior engineer. I didn't start right out of school. So I have, when I say this, I can tell you with prior knowledge of how my old companies were. It's just this company, it's just, the culture is just phenomenal. I mean, the way they have it laid out, in the sense that we have, if you want to call it, I don't want to use the word pillars, but, you know, we have like 4 or 5 really solid points, you know, which I think I don't want to elaborate too much on it, but I'll give you the highlights. So the first one is candid. You know, you got to be candid. What does that mean? Is in the company, no one is afraid to speak up. You always want, I mean, everyone wants to be right, right? But then you have your blind sides. Sometimes, I've been in other places where people may or may not bring up certain things during a meeting or whatever it might be, because it's like, I don't know, will they feel bad? Or it's like, I don't know, here it's like, okay, you did a mistake, so what? Just we'll fix it. We'll go forward. You're not going to be penalized for bringing something because you're like, hey, I think this would be a problem. Do we want to do this? They would rather you bring it up, and they encourage you to be candid. Which I think is phenomenal, because you're not like Edison said. He did not fail 1,000 times. He learned how to make a bulb 1,000 times, right? He did not fail. So it's okay to fail fast. That's it, So then you're like, you learn from it, and then you don't make it because you're making notes so someone else will not do it. So, as long as only 1 or 2 people in the company fail and the rest learn, that's a win already, right? So I really love that aspect of this company, the candid piece. Of course, they're really obsessed with like high performance, in the sense that, be it personal, like I mentioned to you in the previous section, be it personal or professional, you want to be your best. What can you do? And how do you keep improving relentlessly? Never settle, keep improving. And then one of the other things I really love is the speed. So it's like it's kind of like, if you think about it, it's not that the decision making is not only the CEO or only the president. Anyone. I mean, even an intern has decision making abilities. Of course, with the knowledge they will have for that role, but even them, they will empower them to become leaders. It's like you are empowered so that you could make decisions right then and there to move the project forward. It doesn't, and that's the best thing. Be it an intern or a senior, even a CEO, it doesn't matter. All of them have the same culture expectations, which I think is phenomenal.
That's awesome too. And again, just listen to your passion talk, and to our students who are looking for career decisions or trying to make those informed decisions for next steps. Like that. That's awesome that you work for a company that empowers you to be your best, to learn from mistakes, to grow and keep going there. And that is, like you said, you have experience working from other companies. Not all companies are like that. I've worked with different organizations in the past too, and they aren't like that. Part of the reason I like working where I'm at is we do learn and strive to be the best, just like Milwaukee Tool. So it's awesome. With Milwaukee Tool, with the careers and the jobs, as we're trying to kind of keep our workforce talent in the state of Wisconsin here, what types of pay ranges could people expect to see working for Milwaukee Tool? And from a low end all the way up to possibly the top end.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you off the bat, again, this comes from my personal experience of having worked at other places, is it's almost industry leading. I can tell you that much. The compensation is very highly competitive. A very highly competitive wage, and like I said, we're paying as much as anyone in the area, if not more. and from a pay range standpoint, of course, as you would imagine, there's a lot of variables, right? I mean, what position you come into, what is your experience, and where do you want to go, and and all that stuff becomes a part of that. But I'm confident that we will meet or beat anyone in the area from a salary standpoint.
That's a great way to say it, that you will meet or beat anyone, and then you couple that with your culture and the passion and the stuff that you do. That becomes kind of what in my opinion, a desirable workplace to work for. So Karthik, last question I have for you. So we're reaching out to our students and our community in that. Last plug for Milwaukee Tool. Why is this a potentially destination workplace for future graduates and students?
All right. Well, to all the students, one thing I will definitely tell you, forget Milwaukee Tool, but as a student, when you're coming back, if I go back and look at my career, it is important to go and work at any place which gives you the opportunity to keep learning and keep improving yourself. And one of the biggest things I think Milwaukee Tool has to offer is 2 things. One is we are growing exponentially. I mean, the growth is unheard of. one of the numbers I'm going to throw at you, you can go back and Google this. Year over year, Milwaukee Tool has experienced 20% growth. So we went from a $500 million company to almost $6 billion company in just 10 years. And this has been on the back of so much of disruptive innovation. And as students, when you come out, not only do you have to want to learn, the second thing, so one is exponential growth. The second thing is the opportunity to learn and grow and innovate. So people will constantly challenge you to come up with something better, something creative. So you're not, if you compare this to any other job there might be, your job is not just to come in and punch numbers and, yeah, okay, yeah, I did a job. No, they will challenge you to say, okay, what else have you got? You know, what can you think? You know, how can you be more creative? So I think those two things would put you in good stead. I'm pretty positive you would probably not want to leave Milwaukee Tool, but even if you did, you know, the place will upskill you so much that even if you did want to go somewhere else, someone else will be wanting you because you have, you know, from where you started, you would have learned so much, you'd have contributed so much, you'd have provided so much value. So I think Milwaukee Tool will give you this opportunity to come and grow with the company, grow yourself. And I can tell you, I cannot, for the next 3 to 5 years, I think we're going to be hiring. That's how many positions there are right now and there are going to be. So I think now is a good time to get on this bandwagon if you can.
That's a great point to just listen to you talk today, and I'm glad you can come on here. It's just exciting to know that Milwaukee Tool's worldwide headquarters is right here in our backyard, and there's these opportunities that are here for our students. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I look to talking to you in 2-3 years. I want to hear the growth numbers in the future.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Muskego-Norway School District, part of our virtual career fair this year, is we want to talk to some of the larger business partners in the state of Wisconsin. So as you can see, the opportunities are here in our backyard. So whatever career you pursue, there might be opportunities with some national, regional, worldwide partners that are right here in your backyard. Today, I want to introduce to you Phil Langford from Northwestern Mutual, who's going to talk to us a little bit about Northwestern Mutual as a company as a whole. Phil, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful afternoon, and thanks for having me.
So, Phil, the first question I want to talk to you about for Northwestern Mutual and kind of helping our students and families understand about a little more about the company is, who is Northwestern Mutual on a regional stage, a national, and a worldwide stage?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. You know, most people in the area are probably at least somewhat familiar with Northwestern Mutual. We've been in Milwaukee for over 160 years. So really a long-standing organization with Midwest Milwaukee roots, and have been able to kind of continue to reinvent ourselves over and over again over that time period to stay relevant within the financial market. And nationally, we're one of the top life insurers in the world. We're number 102 on the Fortune 500 list. We are not a global company, so all of our clients reside within the United States, and that's the scale of our operations. But also one of the most admired and well-known life insurances companies and financial companies across America.
So, Phil, you kind of started to lead into my next question, but what is Northwestern Mutual's kind of company niche?
Yeah, so we really grew up on life insurance, but we've become so much more than that. And really, we have a goal of helping families across America reach financial security, bottom line. From world-class life insurance, disability insurance products, as well as really strong investment products, and really backed by a foundation of a strong financial planning philosophy. So, you know, financial security can mean so many different things to so many different people. But really helping America achieve their financial dreams. One more thing to add there too, something that's pretty interesting about Northwestern Mutual, we are a mutual company, which means we're really owned by our policyholders and the clients who own our products, which means, you know, we're not serving to Wall Street. We don't have to make a quarterly benchmark. We're not making short-term decisions. We're making long-term decisions in the best interest of our clients and our policyholders, and doing everything possible to make sure that we're returning the highest possible value and return back to those clients. So pretty interesting in terms of the marketplace and the decisions that we're able to make sure that we're here around for another 160 years.
So Phil, one of the reasons we're doing this is kind of career awareness, career exploration, trying to help support our talent and potential opportunities. So you talked about Northwestern Mutual, I heard you say finance, life insurance, stuff like that. So if I'm a student going through high school looking for a potential career, is the financial sector industry the only job or career clusters that Northwestern Mutual has, or is there more to it? Are there more opportunities to work for Northwestern Mutual besides just the financial portion?
Yeah, finance is obviously a major part of our business, from investment specialists to underwriters, actuarial science. There's a lot that goes into us building our, top products that are going to ultimately provide clients the best possible returns with the right levels of risk that they're looking for. And so there's so many different roles and career clusters that are supported by that. But something that a lot of people don't know, and I actually sit within technology, but technology is actually the largest function within Northwestern Mutual. It's about a third of the company now. And we're really, driving forward the technology that is leading our company strategy forward. So a lot of people might not think of a vintage, established, strong financial company as being a tech company, but that's a significant part of the number of roles that we have there as well too. From software engineering to the data science space to artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. I mean, nothing's more important than our clients' data and keeping that protected. We're all about long-term relationships. Our average customer is with us as a client and a partner for over 43 years. So that's a really strong and long relationship, and making sure that we're supporting all the things that person needs throughout that relationship. Pure business management and administration, marketing and sales and servicing, art, communications. There's really a lot of different clusters that we would touch on in some way, with varying levels of opportunities in each one of those.
Phil, that's just it's cool to hear as you start talking about a financial firm or financial institution having IT and all these other opportunities for students to work. I was trying to keep up with all the things you were listing off, but there's 16 career clusters. I think you've hit on at least 50% of them, just saying what you have as opportunities there. So as I'm hearing you talk about Northwestern Mutual, and we're talking about different career clusters are supported. So specifically like job types, what level of degree or education would students need to obtain to find entry-level, mid-level, or even executive-type positions within Northwestern Mutual?
Yeah, it's a great question. What I would say is for mid to senior level positions, a 4-year degree is desired in many cases. For more senior or executive level positions, they're often looking for a master's degree or a significant amount of requisite experience in those spaces. So I will say not all of our executive leaders have gone through that much schooling, but it's often the case. One of the things that I would say is a little bit more unique is, it's not always expecting or requiring a 4-year degree to get a job at companies anymore. And I'll point to technology specifically because that's where I have the most history. But a 2-year degree, even job changers or career changers or using technical boot camps, all of those are avenues that we've brought talent into the organization through as well too. But it always comes down to, what is that experience level that you have? Are you somebody that, you love what you're doing, you love the work, you love learning what's going on and what's coming next. You're doing it in your free time because you really enjoy it and have a passion about your job. You're probably going to have that experience, whether you went to a 4-year school or a 2-year school or another avenue. So it is across the board, but those are a few examples.
It's awesome. A lot of just different opportunities, different backgrounds to get experience. So the next question I want to ask you kind of comes down to the company itself. And what is the company's culture? Can you explain a little bit about that? I know the research I do often is company culture is becoming one of the main things that help attract and retain employees. So what is Northwestern Mutual's like?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we are a heavily customer-focused, client-focused company, and our mutuality allows us to have a very long-term view, and everything we drive back to is are we doing the right thing and making the right decisions? And it's great to be able to be at a company that has that perspective and is always looking for the right thing to do. A few other aspects about our culture that I don't know that everybody would be familiar with is we're heavily focused on the community, both in Milwaukee and beyond, and the type of impact that we believe we need to have, being an important company in the region. We've donated over $20 million to childhood cancer research. We have a number of investments within the local education system, as well as supporting a number of different neighborhoods across the Milwaukee area as well too. And we want to make sure that the communities that we live and operate in are well supported and sustaining and providing a path for the future. I would also say collaboration is a huge part of what we do, as well as making sure that you can come to NM and have a lifetime of opportunity to make an impact. That's not always what everybody is looking for, but I've been with NM 16 years and have changed roles or moved levels or worked in a different area probably every 2 to 3 years. So it's really exciting to be able to do that, keep myself learning, keep myself growing, continuing to stay relevant in the marketplace. And I would say, we're expecting to be a world-class company, but on a national operating scale.
And I would just like to mirror and thank you and Northwestern Mutual for the partnerships. You talked about being involved in the community and helping out. I know you and other individuals that I've worked with from Northwestern Mutual, even down to their actuary science day that they offer every year, have always been just more than willing to connect with students to help them kind of figure out their career path. So I just want to compliment you guys and what you do there. The next question I kind of want to talk to you. So I'm a high school student. I'm trying to figure out my career and the next steps that I want to do. If I find Northwestern Mutual or the potential careers that Northwestern Mutual supports as a potential career opportunity, what type of pay ranges could a student expect to see if they were to come into a company like this?
Yeah, and I'd say we are very in line with the market across the Midwest from a pay range perspective, as well as providing significant benefits from a 401k perspective, as well as ample time off, even still have a pension program as well too. What I would say is, especially within the tech area, and I kind of looked at some numbers from a financial perspective too, the median range would probably be in the 90K range. That could be, as low as 50 to 60K up to the mid hundreds. And certainly as you move up from a leadership or executive perspective, those numbers can grow significantly. Also, Northwestern Mutual has, in addition to our home office, we have offices across the country where our financial advisors, are a part of our exclusive distribution system. They are not actually employees, but they are the ones that are connecting clients to our products. And very, very similar opportunities. But as you can continue to grow your business, just a tremendous amount of opportunity to have a family life-sustaining job.
I think it's really cool. And one thing to hit on is you work with bigger partners such as Northwestern Mutual, you have just a lot of opportunities to grow. You kind of talked about the median, the top end, down to the middle or lower ends, but there's just those opportunities to continue to accelerate your career however you see fit. So I think that's really nice. You talked about across the Midwest. You talked about nationally, Northwestern Mutual, what they look like. What are the locations, or where could a student expect to work if they got a job with Northwestern Mutuals? Are they looking at big cities only, small cities? Where are they looking to work?
Yeah, if you land on the financial advising side, there are probably over 190 or so offices across the U.S. So every major minor city. Our headquarters are based in Milwaukee. We also have a significant office space in Franklin, Wisconsin. We also have a New York office, as well as a small software development group within Minneapolis as well too. Those are the 4 main buildings. And again, as things continue on, we've been working remotely for just about a year now. So that's going to continue to work, create remote opportunities as well too.
Just to kind of highlight what you said there too, the headquarters of Northwestern Mutual is right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right?
Yep, Milwaukee, and then a good office in New York as well too.
So definitely for our students looking for opportunities, there's companies right here in your backyard with opportunities to maybe go out to a coast and grow your career there as well. Phil, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you would just like to hit on for students, for families, as they're exploring careers that you'd like to just touch base on with Northwestern Mutual that would be good information to know?
I would say, make sure that you're able to do quite a bit of your own research. There's so many avenues and venues to learn information about, the types of companies and the types of roles. What I would say is the Milwaukee area has one of the largest centralizations of Fortune 1000 companies across the U.S. Milwaukee is an up and coming market from both a technology perspective, but the amount of economic investment and reinvestment into the city has been significant. And there's a lot of really strong bright spots in our own backyard. And a lot of reasons to stay in the Midwest, both from the opportunity from even starting a business from an entrepreneurship perspective, or from a philanthropic perspective, or working for a large scale company. So there's so much opportunity here, and definitely dig in and check it out.
Phil, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Hi, Mr. Micklick here, College Career and Experiential Learning Coordinator for the Muskego-Norway School District. I'm here working with our counselors today to bring you a chat with your counselor session for our virtual career fair. Mr. Smith is here with me on my left, and Ms. Fleischman is here with me on my right. And we're going to talk to you about some of the opportunities that are out there at Muskego High School that can help prepare you for your future. You can do certain things that will earn you college credits, credentials, and certifications while you are still in high school. We have lots of different options, including advanced placement opportunities. Ms. Fleischman, would you tell us more about this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim, for that introduction. So at Muskego High School, we have a variety of AP courses. That is an opportunity for our students to take college-level courses while in high school. This gives students a chance to experience the rigor of college coursework and give them an idea of how successful they'll be with that college coursework. At the end of each year, students have an opportunity in May to take what's called the AP exam. If they get a qualifying score on this exam, they could potentially earn college credit.
So, Ms. Fleischman, our students come to school, and during third period, they might have an AP exam. And they have a college-level course located at Muskego High School. Then they pass that test at the end of the year, and now they have credit. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this credit would transfer into secondary education?
Yeah, so there's a few parts with earning AP college credit. .org/AP has what's called a credit policy search. Students can go directly on the College Board website, put in the subject area they are taking, for example, AP Environmental Science, and a college they are looking at. Then it will tell them what qualifying score they need to earn that college credit and how that credit transfers, which is really important information to know as well.
As Ms. Fleischman just talked about, it is a little bit of a process to get those credits through the AP courses offered at Muskego High School. Know that our counselors are here to work with you and navigate that process, and our staff as well. But the AP is not the only way that you can gain college credits. Ms. Fleischman, can you tell us about other options that exist?
Absolutely. So besides AP exams and earning credit through those exams, we also have what's called the CLEP program. The CLEP program has been around for a long time, but only in recent years was Muskego High School approved as a testing site for CLEP exams. So students can take them right in our building without having to go somewhere else off-site and pay a fee. CLEP exams can be taken year-round, unlike AP exams, and they are offered in 33 different subject areas. They're a little bit different from AP exams too, because they are 90-minute computer-based programs. So students would take this exam in one of our computer labs that is set up especially for CLEP testing. Students can find more information about what subjects offer CLEP testing. For example, our business program, BMIT, Exploring World of Business, Accounting, Business Law. These are all courses where the content directly relates to a CLEP exam, and they aren't AP advanced placement courses. So it's another chance for students to take courses at Muskego High School and earn the college credit. Students should go on our high school website under the Academics tab to go onto our CLEP page to see a short presentation about CLEP and the program, and also there's a sign up for a CLEP exam right at the high school.
Will you and our other counselors always be there to answer questions and help our students navigate that CLEP process?
Oh, absolutely. We love to have those conversations with students about different opportunities to earn additional college credits.
And this is very important, and we're talking a lot about different opportunities as well at Muskego High School to gain college level credits. And later in our presentation, we'll bring in an individual to talk about the financial responsibilities that are there and why we have these opportunities here for you and our students. Mr. Smith, what other opportunities are there for earning college credit or taking college level courses while still at Muskego High School?
There is an opportunity called Start College Now, which juniors and seniors can take courses in the Wisconsin technical system, like WCTC or MATC. So our students can take these courses for high school credit and college credit at the same time. It's virtually little to no cost to the students, and they can get a big time jump start on a technical diploma or certificate.
As we continue to talk about these opportunities that are available to you through Muskego High School, we thought, what better way to start to bring the industry professionals directly to you to have the conversations. So I want to introduce my good friend, Mr. Mancheski, who works with WCTC. And Mr. Smith is going to field Mr. Mancheski some questions about what Start College Now and what those programs look like to you while you're still in high school. Mr. Smith.
So Mr. Mancheski, why would a student participate in Start College Now?
Well, good morning, everybody. So Start College Now it's a statewide program that allows students to take college classes through the technical college system while they're a junior or senior in high school. So if a student has identified a career and educational path that they want to take for after high school, Start College Now is a great way for the student to be able to get a jump start on it before they've even graduated from high school. And one of the cool things is as long as they have good grades, good attendance, good behavior, all those things, the coursework is typically paid for by the school district. So it's kind of a win-win-win where the student gets that jump start, and then they get help with the tuition cost side of things because it's included with their local school district.
So what does this process of getting involved in Start College Now look like for each student?
Sure. So it's going to vary a little bit, but I would say as a baseline, one of the things we're looking at is that the student has done some exploration so that they have some ideas about what they want to do for a career after high school, and they've kind of identified a pathway that they want to take. So Start College Now is specifically, that I'm thinking about going into a career through technical college education. I always recommend to the students that one of the first people that they have a conversation with is their high school counselor, and kind of get just sort of a big picture idea of with what remaining requirements they still have at high school that Start College Now could potentially make sense for and would dovetail with the things that they still have to do at their high school as either a junior or a senior. Start College Now does give the student a lot of flexibility in terms of how many classes they want to take in a semester. But the big thing, like you're mentioning, Mr. Smith, in your question is, hey, what do I have to do? So a preliminary conversation with the counselor makes a lot of sense. The counselor kind of gives a, sort of just an informal kind of thumbs up, like, I think this could work for you. There's an actual application that the student does complete. They will have to list courses that they want to take in a given semester, and they have to submit that paperwork. And it varies a little bit from school district to school district, but in general, March 1st and October 1st are big dates for the calendar that the student wants to keep in mind. So if a student's going to do Start College Now, let's say this coming fall semester, the paperwork is typically due by March 1st of that year in preparation for a fall, like a September start that same year. And then October 1st is the due date for the then subsequent spring that's coming. So again, as an example, in the time we're in right now, today is March 5th. Students that want to start college now this coming fall, ideally they would have had their paperwork in this past March 1st, a few days ago. Folks that are shooting for the coming spring of 22, they'd have that paperwork into their counselor by no later than October 1st. And we do have folks that on the college side, if you will, they can consult with the students on what classes to request permission for and so forth. So we have people that will help the students with figuring out what classes they want to take.
Right, and certainly these conversations with students start with the school counselors that we have at Muskego High School. And I appreciate you saying how there's staff at WCTC, for instance, that make themselves available, much like you do being a career coach. And I want to touch on that in just 1 second. But first, if we could spend some time talking about what the dual enrollment program is for students at WCTC, because this is also an additional opportunity for students to earn technical college credit.
Yes. So, and Mr. Smith, to be candid too, there does seem to be a little bit of confusion once in a while between the two programs. So I'm glad we're hitting on both. Now, Dual Enrollment Academy, so that's the formal name of this other program you're referring to. Dual Enrollment Academy is something that WCTC does. I do believe there are a few other technical colleges throughout the state that have something similar. They might have a slightly different name. But Dual Enrollment Academy is more of a structured program that the student does, typically seniors. We do see some select juniors do Dual Enrollment Academy. One of the main differences between the two is this. Dual Enrollment Academy is going to be focused in specific career areas. So when it comes to Dual Enrollment Academy, if the student is looking at doing something specifically, and I made some notes here even for myself, there's an automation track, construction trades, fire/EMT, information technology or IT, early childhood education, tool and die, and welding. If a student is looking at going into one of those specific areas, Dual Enrollment Academy really gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Now, it is typically Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to noon. So again, we're talking a little about the school counselor's role here. If a student is going to do Dual Enrollment Academy, the counselor coordinating a little bit here is really critical, because if the student is going to have some high school courses that they're still doing while they do a dual enrollment academy program, we have to make sure it's coordinated. I mean, let's be frank here. The student can't be in two places at one time, right? So with dual enrollment academy, they're actually at WCTC Monday through Friday, 8 to noon, and then they might go back to their high school in the afternoon, and they would then maybe finish out any remaining required courses they have. With Start College Now, you don't quite have the same structure. So the student is picking the number of classes they're taking in a given semester, and the schedule could fluctuate real wildly. There could be a Start College Now class that, let's say, is Monday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So really their schools, their high school schedule doesn't necessarily conflict with that. Most high schools don't have a 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. class, right? So you do have to make sure that you're not going to have a schedule conflict in that manner. But you do get a lot of bang for your buck. Usually you get a few additional credits. A typical dual enrollment academy program, the student is probably getting some, it varies, but they're going to be looking at somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 18 to 22 credits. They typically get a certificate, a certification, or a diploma as a part of the program. When a student does Start College Now, they may not necessarily be getting that certificate or diploma, although the credits are typically going towards a diploma or an associate's degree. Same thing on dual enrollment academy side. That certification or diploma can roll into the associate's degree. So, but as I recall correctly, and since we do have two high school counselors there, you, Mr. Smith, and Mrs. Fleischman, most of the school districts, they're going to cap Start College Now at about 18 credits for a year. Does that sound? I see your head shaking.
Yep,
so
that's correct. 18 credits. That's correct.
Yep. So with dual enrollment academy, you can kind of get more credits. That's going to be covered by the district and WCTC, or if sometimes there's a private funding source that's helping. With Start College Now, you might have a few fewer credits, but you do have the flexibility that you can typically go into just about anything that you want to study. Start College Now doesn't have the limitation of certain tracks. Does that help give you some comparisons there, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I think it does, exactly. And we encourage all of our students to start these conversations with their school counselors, and we can help them navigate between where their interests might be blossoming or lying between maybe exploring some technical courses through Start College Now, or maybe they have identified an area like building construction trades that they know for a fact they'd like to pursue a diploma or a certificate in that area, in which case dual enrollment academy would probably be a better fit, and we can work with them to navigate that process. And we want these conversations to be with us, the school counselors, but like you said, you make yourself available, and many professionals and business partners in the area make themselves available to our students as a resource to also have these conversations about what they might be interested in or exploring as post-secondary options. So you're a career coach for WCTC, and you're a direct partner with Muskego High School. So how can our students take advantage of you being a career coach?
Sure. Well, and so we've been partnering with Muskego for career coaching for several years now. And if there is anybody out there that listens to this and they, I do think we have to take 1 second to say this. They might say, well, what do you mean by a career coach? What does that actually mean kind of in plain English? Well, basically, this is what it is. A career coach is not a recruiter. A career coach is someone that helps a student figure out where they are right now, where they want to go in the future, and how they can get there in terms of a career and an educational pathway. So WCTC and its partnership with Muskego, I am actually available sort of at the disposal of Muskego High School and students every other Thursday throughout the entire school year. So basically from September through May, I've got my calendar blocked off, and I work with students at various ages. It's great to work with juniors and seniors, but I'll tell you what, I really like working a lot with 9th and 10th graders, because to your commentary, Mr. Smith, this is a planning process. So if we can talk with younger students, they do exploration in 9th and 10th grade, boy, by the time they're a junior, they're primed to do these programs, and definitely as a senior. So early conversations can be really helpful. And basically the main thing that a student or family needs to do is contact their school counselor. Hey, I hear you guys have this career coaching program. Mrs. Fleischman, can my son sign up to meet with the career coach? She can pull up the schedule and get an appointment set right up. We've actually got an electronic scheduler that works pretty well, where the student can even book their appointment out, anywhere from a week or two in advance, even to a few months in advance. I have some students, actually, I've met with a few times to do a couple of career coaching sessions. We might have met in September, then maybe we did a follow-up in December, and then we've got another one booked for March, and they're working on exploratory activities between appointments to get things figured out.
Mr. Mancheski, we really appreciate you taking the time today to talk about these different opportunities and helping our students get a jump start. Whether it's our students that are looking to be certified nurses down the road and they're participating in Start College now to get their CNA program, or it's our students that want to get more refined and get that dual enrollment and get a certification to prepare them for their next steps or careers. These are just great opportunities that are provided through WCTC in partnership with the Muskego-Norway School District, as well as having those conversations with a third party such as yourself about next steps. I really appreciate your time today, and we love working and having you in, so looking forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great day, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, Mr. Micklig. You guys all have a great day as well.
So, Mr. Smith, are there other opportunities out there?
Yes, there is. There's another opportunity called the Early College Credit Program, or ECCP.
Well, let's stay on track. Let's bring in the coordinator at Carroll University, Derek Brown, to tell us more about the Early College Credit Program.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Brown. To start out, what is the Early College Credit Program?
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here today, and happy to provide information on the Early College Credit Program. So what is the Early College Credit Program? It is a program in the state of Wisconsin that allows high school juniors and seniors to select college courses while they're still in high school. In most cases, approved Early College Credit Program courses count towards both high school graduation requirements in addition to earning college credit. ECCP, the acronym for Early College Credit Program participation, is a great way for students to get an early start on one's college education and also gain advanced awareness to the learning expectations at the college level. In public school districts in the state, along with the Department of Public Instruction in the state, will cover the direct course costs for each approved ECCP students, and this includes tuition and textbooks.
So, Mr. Brown, these conversations certainly start in the school counselor's office if a student is interested in taking an ECCP course. But what other resources, for instance, we've had many students that have taken an ECCP course at Carroll University. So what other resources are available at the university level or college level to help students to guide them through this ECC process as well?
Sure, and I'll also continue on a little bit more. Before I dovetail into that answer, the public school districts will approve students to take college courses that which there are not equivalent courses being offered at the high school. So for example, if a school, high school such as Muskego offers, let's say, a course of AP psychology, well, a student would not be eligible then or not be approved more or less for going for an introductory to psychology course at a college such as Carroll University. For high school students that have exhausted course possibilities in their specific subject areas, Early College Credit Program does also make a lot of sense for these students. For example, students that may have exhausted AP Calculus AB and BC in high school could certainly look to take like a next level, a Calculus 3 course, perhaps during the senior of high school at a school like Carroll. In terms of participation, which I think, yeah, your kind of question was related to there, accessing and submitting an Early College Credit Program application with the specific course selections, whether it be at a school like Carroll or at another four-year institution in the state that would also be a member of the ECCP program can begin as early as the second semester of the 10th grade year of high school. And all ECCP higher education institutions are going to use the same particular application. Most of them are going to post it on their website in some place, and Carol does ourselves do the same thing on a very dedicated web page for those seeking early college credit program information or the application of itself. And Carroll University, we do have an institutional requirement to have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA being possessed in high school to meet minimal eligibility for ECC participation. Carroll will also require a copy of the Muskego High School transcript for the student at the point of submission of the ECCP application to Carroll University. Continuing on, just furthermore, for a listing of college courses, this is probably a very common question that I receive. You know, what courses should I be looking for, requesting? You can reach out to a dedicated coordinator for early college credit program at college universities. I would be obviously that person at Carroll University to get some feedback. And then also students and families can access academic course catalogs on the university's websites. And from there, you'll have a listing of course options to get descriptions of. Here is a URL to Carroll's online academic course catalog. And then an important note, this isn't always common knowledge, but something I certainly will try to convey in this session, as well as future conversations I have with prospective ECCP students and families, is that by gaining approval from a school district for certain course or courses on an ECCP application does not necessarily guarantee that the student is able to enroll into them. And common reasons why may include the student is requesting a course that's not offered in a certain term. Maybe they're requesting a course that's only offered in a spring term and they're requesting it in the fall term. Another possibility is that a student doesn't meet the prerequisites to enroll into a course. So probably looking at more 100 to 200 level college level courses are going to hopefully prevent a student from not measuring up to the prerequisites. And then finally, sometimes it's subject to what the existing student body at a college is doing in terms of their course registration. In many cases, that's going to be in advance of an ECCP student. So that could lead to some limitations in potentially students getting into their courses if courses fill up.
Mr. Brown, thank you for walking us through that process of how to participate in ECCP. What I'm hearing is a lot of colleges have an ECC page on their website that students can access that application and talk to a representative for ECCP for that college. Thank you also for clarifying about not all courses will be approved for ECCP. Can you tell us, are there any deadlines that students should be watching out for when it comes to ECCP?
Yes, there are indeed deadlines. And so these are going to be posted here. Even though at Carroll University, I have not personally seen a lot of students requesting summer courses, but that would be a February 1st deadline to have an early college credit program application into your designated person, usually your high school counselor, I would assume, for school district approval for any summer courses for ECCP participation. It would be a March 1st deadline for fall term ECCP participation, having the application by that deadline date. And then for the spring, it would be an October 1st deadline. Once again, it starts with the access to the ECCP applications, as I referenced a few slides ago, and then getting that into your designated point of contact person at your high school. And then from there, there's going to be district approval. And once the student receives the ECCP application back, they're going to need to provide it to the coordinator at the particular college that they're looking at to do ECCP participation at. That would be myself if it's Carroll University, along with, once again, a copy of one's high school transcript. And then I would be providing feedback thereafter in terms of registration steps for courses that fit the bill, being offered, meeting prerequisites, and available in the specific term.
Thank you for walking us through that. And those deadlines are so important, and that's the same deadline as Start College Now. So we really like to highlight that October 1st and March 1st deadline for things. Mr. Brown, one other question we get from students a lot when talking about these college credit programs: how can a student be sure that the credits they're earning through ECCP will transfer to another university?
Yeah, that is a very common question. So how do these particular ECCP courses transfer into colleges? So I'll kind of give you kind of the grand overview, because understandably, not all students that, let's say, take ECCP courses at Carroll are going to be eventually enrolling as a full-time student at Carroll. So here's basically kind of the best advice I could give a prospective ECCP student family, is that if you are looking at courses that you are wanting to take, using, let's say, an academic catalog available on a college's website, if you want to see how they're going to transfer into another university, let's say if they're being taken at Carroll, you do have to work backwards. Meaning, for example, if a student wishes to take early college credit program courses at Carroll and transfer them into, let's say, a school like UW-Whitewater, the student needs to contact the Office of Admission at UW-Whitewater to determine how those credits are going to transfer there. So Carroll can't tell Whitewater how our courses are going to transfer in. It's only Whitewater that can tell a student, preferably in advance of taking these courses at Carroll, how they're going to transfer in, how it will benefit them. So many students and families may not, understand this or even know in advance of selecting courses. But it's once again, you have to recognize where the destination institution may lie, and then make sure you're getting the feedback from them. And so, yeah, this is something that, is referenced in this bullet point here. Also, if a high school student does have an idea of what major they want to do when they go off to college, offices of admission at future colleges generally can provide some framework of suitable courses that are going to be applicable or work towards the completion of that particular degree. And at the very end of it, meaning the end of completion of an ECCP course at a particular college, the student then is going to eventually need to request an official college transcript to be sent to that college that they're eventually attending. Now, in a scenario where a student is taking ECCP courses at Carroll and they eventually enroll at Carroll, well, obviously they don't have to send a transcript in that case because it's already in-house.
Thank you for expanding on that, Mr. Brown. I think you mentioned something so important at the end. They are starting essentially their college transcript, so they should take these courses very seriously. And just highlighting the fact too, remain in contact with admissions office, remain in contact with the representative for ECCP for the college they're looking at. So thank you so much for walking us through that process.
And just to piggyback, Mr. Brown, thank you for your time today. And students and families, as you see, these are great opportunities for you, but we've already talked about a lot of other things that are out there. It is a process and a lot of different information there. So always rely on your counselors, have those conversations with them so they can put you into contact with the correct people so we can get you the credits that you deserve. Mr. Brown, thank you for your time today. I appreciate having the conversation and helping our students and family learn.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Start College Now and dual enrollment are great programs. Mr. Smith, about how many students a year are participating in these programs?
Yeah, usually every year we have at least 20 to 30 students between Start College Now and dual enrollment that participate.
So again, just a reminder, if you are interested in these programs, start with your counselors and have the conversations to see if these are good fits for you. So today we've already discussed the advanced placement opportunities, the CLEP program, Start College Now, and dual enrollment that Muskego-Norway School District offers to our students. We also offer a program called CAP. Mr. Smith, can you tell us a little bit more about that program?
Right. The CAP program is a partnership between Muskego High School and UW-Oshkosh for our students to take college credit courses that are taught in our high school by our high school teachers.
We want to bring in another industry professional to tell you a little bit more about CAP. Please welcome John Dobbins from the University of Oshkosh to talk to us more about CAP. John, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone at Muskego.
Can you tell us more about exactly what the CAP program is?
Sure. The CAP program is a real university operating within Muskego High School's hallways through your credentialed high school teachers. Teachers that have a master's degree or higher in their subject area actually offer UW-Oshkosh courses with UW-Oshkosh credits that show up on a UW-Oshkosh transcript. And the best part of all this is when students engage in these classes, they pay about 1/3 what a student on campus would pay. These credits also transfer to hundreds of universities throughout North America and Europe.
Mr. Dobbins, you kind of explained some of the reasons why a student may be interested in taking a CAP class, but how would a CAP class help a student prepare for their post-secondary education after high school?
There's a variety of ways in which concurrent enrollment classes help students prepare for college. First and foremost, you're going to be taking classes in the gen ed sphere that will help you earn your bachelor's degree at almost every university that you go to. Those English 101s, those biology classes, those chemistry classes that you're going to need as a freshman, regardless of which major you claim or majors. Additionally, because Muskego-Norway is such a great partner of ours, we have the ability for some students to actually engage in major courses. We've got 200 and 300 level courses, which can lead kids directly into their major or minor. Another upside of taking concurrent enrollment classes in high school is the cost savings that I just mentioned before. For every 5 credits a student takes at UW-Oshkosh, you'd be saving over $1,000 off the cost of your degree. And of course, that amount will go up if you transfer your credits to an institution that maybe prices their credits a little bit higher than we do. Additionally, students who take CAP classes are UW-Oshkosh students, as well as being Muskego High School students. They have the rights and privileges of UWO students. They have access to libraries. They have access to shared resources. They have access to UW system upsides. And if students choose to start at Titan and stay at Titan, come to UWO, we have scholarships that are built specifically for our CAP students to come home with their credits.
So there are many supports available for these students if they are involved in the CAP program in any way. I mean, not just at the high school level, but you just detailed many supports that are available at the university level too at Oshkosh. So if a student was interested in a CAP course, what does that process look like for them to apply or get started?
Sure, it's a really simple process and it costs them nothing up front. First and foremost, you would chat with your high school counselor. The counselors at Muskego are amazing and really savvy with regards to the offerings that we have built there. We've got over 45 credits that a student can get at Muskego High through UWO. You'd talk to your counselor, you'd look at your upcoming next year's schedule and say, are any of these classes UW-Oshkosh CAP classes? If you say that they are and you want to take them for credit, you would go to the UW system and submit an application to become a special student at UW-Oshkosh. And your counselors will lead you exactly to that link to get you started. This application then alerts UW-Oshkosh that you're out there at Muskego. Hi, I'm out here. I'd like to take a CAP class. We'll build you a student ID, a student email, build you a student account, and then we'll email you in August to say, hi, thank you for wanting a UW-Oshkosh CAP class at Muskego High. Click this link and tell us which courses you want. You want Spanish and education and chem, etc. You'll then build your college schedule just like you would if you were on campus.
So I've heard you list a bunch of information about how a student can, how they begin the process to apply, and it sounds like there's a lot of individual information sent to them. They have their own unique ID created for the University of Oshkosh. They have emails that are sent to them. So the student is essentially becoming a college student at UW-Oshkosh. So what advice would you give to a high school student who is now becoming also a college student at the same time to keep track of all these different types of communication?
Sure. Well, we're not going to push you into being a college student right away. We're going to help you in that transition to our college classes. We've got video supports to help you with the application process and the registration process. We've got great counselors at Muskego High, as well as counselors in our office. The thing that I would detail for students in terms of what do you need to do to become a college student is to take ownership of your academic career and pathway, ownership of your individual responsibilities within your classes, ownership of the deadlines and timelines that you will see arise as you begin the journey to full-fledged college student status. You'll have a UW Oshkosh transcript that you're going to have to keep track of regardless of where you end up going. You should be on top of that transcript after you start taking college classes, whether they're from UWO or from another provider. You want to make sure that those transcripts are correct and that you then can transfer that credit that you deserve to the university or college that you end up going to.
John, thanks for your time today. Is there anything else you'd like to add about our partnership with UW Oshkosh, the CAP program, or any good information for our students or families before we let you go today?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. We have built at great partner schools like Muskego what's called a 1+3 pathway. It is possible for a high school student at Muskego who's laser focused, who knows what they want their major to be and knows what career industry they'd like to be in, to get a 3-year bachelor's degree. And we'll help students decrease their time and cost of degree, not only while they're at Muskego High, but by paying less to their university. So a 1+3 program is something that a lot of area states have, where a student can earn up to an associate's degree while they're still in high school. If you're that laser focused and if you're ready for that type of commitment, we would love to help you on that path. If you are just dabbling in college and trying to figure out which things will help me best position for my future major, we're here to help you as well. Our counselor, Jenny Wolfel, who's on the CAP website, would be happy to help you, talk to your parents, talk to your guardians about your chosen major and what CAP can do to help you along that path, regardless of where you end up going.
John, thank you for your time today and talking to our students a little bit more about the CAP program, the credits, and how they can get themselves a jump start on next steps in their life. Have a great day, John.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
So today we've gone over a lot of information on how you can prepare for your post-secondary plans if you're looking to pursue education after leaving high school. As we look at the pillars of the Connect Academy, that college, career, community connections, we want to start actually thinking about how these situations, or these opportunities, I should say, for you are going to help you out in your next steps in your life. Post-secondary education is a huge financial investment and responsibility. So we don't only want to talk about the opportunities that the Muskego-Norway School District can provide you to save some money. We also want to bring in Pat from Secure Futures to talk about ways that you can strategically find ways to navigate through the educational process after high school. Pat, welcome today. We have spent some time chatting with our counselors to learn about opportunities for our students where they can get post-secondary education credits while still in high school. Can you talk to us a little bit, or can you talk to our students and our parents a little bit about things they need to start thinking about to plan financially for their post-secondary education?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I've sort of adopted a philosophy that I didn't create, but someone else did from a long time ago. And I think parents and students need to begin with the end in mind. So the student's going to go on this journey where they're making a decision to go to college of some sort. And on the other end of that, when that journey is completed, there's going to be a career that they've been studying for that they want to begin. But there's an awful lot that's got to happen in between there as far as making decisions, and a lot of them are financial decisions. But the other thing that I think about is, beginning again with that end in mind, is what will it look like at the end after I have my career? Because there will be a financial outcome based on the decisions you make about where you go to school, how much it costs, et cetera, and student loan debt, as well as what's your income going to be once you have your career. So like anything, you need to create a plan, and the earlier you can start that process, the better. So there's a lot of variables that they have to take into consideration, and I think people should think about it like they're making a purchase, a major purchase. And so this purchase has to do with what's it going to cost me to go to college? And there's a lot of choices, right? So they have to think about how they're going to put that together, look at different colleges and costs, and compare them. But they also have to determine how they're going to pay for college. And so it's important to go through really all of the variables, like how much free financial aid am I going to get? How much can my parents, or are my parents going to contribute if they can, or any other family members that might be contributing, and what does that add up to? And, you know, for parents, a great tool to use to help plan for college and save is the EdVest program here in Wisconsin. So that's a 529 savings plan where you can put money into investments every month. And that money grows without any tax implication. So it grows tax deferred. And when you take it out and use it for college, there's no taxes on whatever gains you made also. Plus you get a tax deduction here in the state for your contribution. So that's a really important thing to consider and start as early as possible. And then of course, the student hopefully has some savings, you know, that they've gotten throughout high school, maybe working in a job and putting some of that money away. And again, it's important to make conscious decisions about that now, so that when you do get to college and you have to start paying for it, that you've got some money, you know, saved up. And then of course, scholarships and also, are you going to work during school? Because that can significantly reduce overall your student loan, you know, debt, if you will. So if I summarize everything I just said, what's the college going to cost? How much money is available to pay for it? And if you subtract those numbers, you're going to come up with a shortfall or a surplus. And unfortunately, for most students and families, it's a shortfall, which means you have to borrow money. And borrowing money isn't a bad thing to make a purchase, but you need to understand what your monthly payment is going to be, because you own that once you start your career. And the question is, does it fit into your budget? Does it allow you to do the things you want to do from a lifestyle standpoint? And those are a lot of the things that students have not really, I think, seen or found tools to assist with kind of giving them a view into what their financial life's going to look like in the future.
Pat, thank you so much for going over that. You mentioned so many different variables when it comes to preparing just to pay for post-secondary education and where those sources of money come from. Can you tell us more, because you mentioned how important it is to plan. Are there any other tools that students and families can use to start to prepare financially for their future?
Yeah, there is. So the organization I work for is a nonprofit here in Wisconsin. We're located in Milwaukee. We're called Secure Futures. We're mission oriented, so we're not selling anything. But we create financial education programming to help young people, teens and young adults, build the skills and knowledge really to become financially empowered. And we built a program called MoneyPath about 3 years ago. And MoneyPath is available for free at no cost, because we raised the money from generous donors. But it's available to all high schools in Wisconsin and all high school students. And we just rolled it out with the Department of Public Instruction. And I know Jim is aware of that. And I'll just talk about that for a couple of minutes, because it's a super powerful tool. And the reason we built it is because we couldn't find anything that did what it does. So what MoneyPath allows the students to do is to build this real life financial plan that will help them see what things are going to look like. And I'm just going to illustrate a few of the screens that we have on our website, so that students and parents that are viewing this presentation can get an idea what it looks like. And again, Muskego High School and Jim know how to provide access to the students for free. So again, just a thumbnail overview. So when the student gets in the application, so it's a browser-based application, they would choose where they're at in life now, and that would be in high school, obviously. And I'll just go through a couple of the screens here. And then they would choose college if they intend to go to college. You can see I've got that highlighted here. And then once they're in there, and again, I'm skipping some of the screens, but once they choose college, the first thing they're going to do is actually choose their career that they're interested in. And I have queued up here nursing as an example, but you can see there are many other careers here that they could pursue in the health area, but there's literally hundreds of careers in different disciplines. And they can actually see the starting salary for last year's graduates that were nursing students. So it gives them a really good indication of what potentially their earning would look like once they graduate. And so now if you go back to what I started with, which is how much is it going to cost to go to school, you can pick any school in the country. We have the entire database in here, and you can see that the sticker price here for UWM here in Milwaukee is about $24,500. So that's the amount it's going to cost per year to go to school. Now I have to figure out where the money's going to come from. And so this is just a summary of, again, a hypothetical plan that I built. But you can see those areas that we talked about as far as where's the money going to come from. And so my example here has that there's about $18,000 a year in funding available. And the reason that's important is now we look at that cost of school, this $24,000, the $18,000 that we have available, and I'm short $6,000. This helps the student and the parent understand how much they might need to borrow per year. And then we sort of forecast that out for them here on the right side. So if they have to do that 4 times, if they're going to a 4-year school, they're going to have to borrow about $25,000 in some way, shape, or form to make this happen. And we show them what the interest will be that they have to pay back, and we show them their monthly payment. So it's really critical that they understand they're going to have to pay $259 a month for 10 years. And then how does that fit into their budget going forward? So that's part of the tool. And the next part of the tool actually helps them see what it looks like once they're in their career. Do you want me to go ahead and just finish up by jumping into that?
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Okay. So in the application, we fast forward them to the career they chose. I'll make this a little larger. And so here's that $56,000 that they're going to make as a nurse. And we show them their first monthly budget here. We take taxes out, their savings categories, and their spending categories. And the student literally goes in and edits this budget to make it very personalized. And we give them some tips on how to do that also right in the application. But at the end of the day, what we want to show them is this $259 a month in savings. And I'll back up one screen here. And I know this might be a little small, but here's that student loan amount of $259. And just coincidentally, we have them saving $259 a month too, but there's their student loan payment. So it's part of their spending. So this is what they can afford to save now once they have their job. And we show them how long it will take them to reach 4 different goals. In our example, it's an emergency fund, a car down payment, other self sort of defined goal, and a down payment for a home. And in this example, it takes them 10 years. But imagine if that student loan number was double, $500 or $600. This timeline would go way out. It would take so much longer for them because they wouldn't be able to save $259 a month. So it's really important for students to see how it will fit into their financial life once they start that career. And then we even show them saving for retirement early and how that can grow money over a 40-year period of time. And then finally, and really critically, is we allow them to save paths. So here's 4 different paths that are saved, and they can actually compare the paths to help them make decisions on what is the right path for me with college, what school, how much student loan debt can I handle, et cetera. And this is what that looks like, where it lines up 3 different career or college paths, and it helps them make decisions. So that tool, again, is called Money Path, and it's available to all the Muskego High School students and their parents, and again, across the state also.
Pat, thank you for showing us that amazing tool. A couple things you said kind of really stick out in my mind. You said a good way to look at students' next steps is start with the end in mind. So where do you want to go so that you can start to plan accordingly the financial obligation that's going to come out of it? And then the other thing you said too is borrowing money for your post-secondary education is not a bad thing, but how do you plan for it? And what MoneyPath does, and I'm really impressed with the system and the things that are offered to our students and families, is you can start to compare schools, universities, 4-year, 2 years, degrees, and really start to break down the differences that are out there between the schools financially to decide what's going to help best set you up for your future and financially how that'll impact your budget and income after you graduate. So Pat, I thank you for your time. Students and families, we do have access to this. If you ever want more information, just let us know and we can get you onto the system so that you can start to look at it. Again, Pat, thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, and good luck to you.
So we looked at opportunities and options today to get you college credit while still in high school. We talked about the financial implications of what it takes to get those advanced degrees or next steps in your schooling. We want to talk to you a little bit more about the importance of the ACT. Ms. Fleischman, can you tell us about the importance for a 4-year university in the ACT?
Yeah, for sure, Mr. McLeod. So the ACT is used in review of your admissions application. It's also used to qualify for certain programs of study as well as scholarships, which is an important reason why you should take your ACT seriously your junior year.
And again, we want to look at all options for all students. So as well as the ACT's importance in a 4-year school, Mr. Smith, can you tell us the importance in the technical schools?
Right. The ACT is also used in part of the admission process review for a student applying to a technical school. The subscores on the ACT will be used to determine certain math classes and English classes or admittance to certain certificates and diplomas that the student might want. So the ACT is also something that we stress the importance of when students are considering technical schools.
And then besides the 4-year school, the technical schools, apprenticeships have now adopted the ACT as a benchmark for entrance into their apprenticeships. Not all local unions accept the ACT score as waiver to their aptitude test, but some are starting to use it, and more are going to use it as the years progress. So as you start preparing for your ACT in your junior year, make sure you take this test very seriously because it will help open doors no matter what your path may be. With all these opportunities for students to prepare for next steps in their career journey, how and where should students begin to start planning for their career area of interest after high school? Ms. Fleischman, can you talk a little more about this topic?
Absolutely. So the planning for both areas of interest and students' futures start in and outside the classroom. One of the tools we use for academic and career planning, or ACP, is Zello. Zello allows students to take interest in skill inventories that match them to potential career options. We also use our Muskego High School Career Clusters document to help guide students in what courses they should potentially take based on an intended career cluster. This document is listed on our website, and students can use it when registering for courses and really being intentional when choosing courses. So again, we have ACP 1 month every year during the school year that gives students an opportunity to start that exploration both for academic and career preparation.
So now we're looping in the university, the college credits, and we're looking at careers and clusters and next steps. We talked earlier today about having the conversations with your counselors. If students want to strike up conversations with their counselors, how does this process begin?
Like I said, these conversations can begin in and outside the classroom. Counselors meet with students for a variety of different reasons. And some things we discuss with students involves academic and career planning, planning for post-secondary plans, as well as paying through college through financial aid and scholarships. Students should meet with their counselor to get more information on these topics or visit our website.
We cannot stress enough that working with your counselors directly are going to help guide you through all these opportunities that we have available to you here. It is a lot of information and a lot of different paths that students and families can go down to. And they're great opportunities to help every student learn, grow, and succeed. Thank you for joining us with Chatting with Your Counselors. I hope we helped provide the information and started to answer some of the questions that are there for you. Reach out to any of us at any time so we can continue these conversations to help you in the next steps along your journey. I wanted to bring us back for a Q&A with Jeff Peterson, our keynote speaker. He brought some great points, so I want to talk to him a little bit more about his presentation. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me out here.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming back. In your presentation, you talked about what do you want to be when you grow up. That's what we're here for today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You talked about experiences. What type of experience should students look for when they are exploring their careers?
So I think that's one of the toughest parts about trying to figure everything out. I think when a student is looking at all of the different jobs that are out there and they don't know enough about them to figure out should they go try it or shouldn't they try it. I think it's quick and easy to start with people that you know, talk to your teacher, talk to your guidance counselor, talk to your family, friends of the family, and find out what they're doing, because that's the quick and easy way for you to get those experiences in those different careers. And I think once a student starts to kind of branch out and see and try those different things, they start looking at everything differently. So when they're driving by a business, you know, around their community, and they start asking those questions, so what kind of jobs are in there? What does that company do? And I think just having them start within their comfort zone circle is the quick and easy route, because it's hard for me to sit there and say, make sure you go out and you find somebody to shadow that is in the medical field, or a lawyer, or somebody that's in sales, or a teacher. I think it's more figure out your own circle, get comfortable with how you're exploring and what that experience means to you, and then I think naturally they'll start to branch off into different things that they want to.
So, and Jeff, you talked about the sampling piece, and in your presentation you talked about exploring careers is like fast food.
Yep.
I found that as a great analogy and kind of bringing in some things on that point. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
So I think it's crazy that as we were, like our parents, when we were infants, they were so specific on the types of food as they were kind of giving it to us as we were getting older, and what they thought our body could tolerate, and what the doctors said, okay, now you can introduce this. And then, like you said, when it comes down to fast food, we start taking over our own choices and decisions on what we actually want to go out and try for ourselves and experience. And I think it's crazy that we don't look at what we want to do with our lives in the same exact way. Our parents in today's world need to start helping the kids experience and explore and get exposure to the different types of jobs that are out there when they're trying to make a decision on whether they're going to college, whether they're not. If they don't, what type of jobs are available to high school graduates. And I think it's important for us to start to implement some of that basic thinking we do every single day when it comes to our food decisions. When that's a basic decision and we give it more thought and care than we do about exposure to our own career opportunities and those decisions that go with it.
So, Jeff, the next question I wanted to ask you is, you talked about what is career exploration and when should I start? You talked about the chance to ask questions and build yourself up through your jobs. So kind of what I'm going to in your presentation, you talked about specifically, some people think like, oh, I'm just sweeping the floors for this company, or I'm just doing this. And you said, it's not just a job. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
I say it to students all the time. They're like, I work at this fast food restaurant, I'm just flipping burgers. I've got to make money, so that's what I'm doing. You know, I want to find something else that is more meaningful. And I always say every single job, every experience is as meaningful as you want to make it. Because when you're at that fast food restaurant, there's so many aspects of business and careers that are within that organization that if they have the time to talk to a store manager of, So what made you decide to be a store manager in the fast food industry? Or that customer service piece of understanding the personalities and the challenges of customer service. If you didn't put the fries in that bag, you know, still being able to keep a good experience for that customer and the need for that. And even to the point of understanding the flow of the business and the timeliness of tasks that you have to complete. And just sometimes just showing up on time and understanding that responsibility. So every job, every role that you do, somebody's counting on you, and it's not just your boss that is signing your paycheck, but it could be a customer, it could be somebody in the community. So you have to care about everything you do, and I think every one of those jobs that we have the opportunity to take, or it fits into our schedule, we can turn into a positive experience, or at least a learning experience. You don't have to love flipping burgers in a fast food restaurant, but if you're going to do it and it fits into your schedule and that's how you're going to make money, take that time and experience and get something out of it that you can value and grow from.
I love that. And you start to get into now career explorations, but then also our mindset and what we start looking at for next steps. And I think that fits in key exactly with how do you better prepare yourself. And I really like what you just said there too, is flipping burgers isn't just flipping burgers, but how can you learn? So not always work for the money, but work to learn too. And I think that could really help our students out in next steps of what they do.
Absolutely.
Jeff, in your presentation, the next point you talked about is put everything into what you do. So you said, and we see students a lot of times will say, you know what, this class doesn't pertain to my future, so I don't care as much about that. And you said if you're there, put everything into it that you got to do. Can you elaborate a little more on that and the importance of that?
I think it's something that, again, when I talk to even people that work with me at my company, those times that you're just doing what people would consider just a task. You've got to do it. It's not what I'm paid to do, but I have to do it. It's part of my job. I'm not getting anything out of it. The same thing kind of comes when students are getting bored with the process and feeling as though they want to start getting to that next step in their life and things are getting in their way and slowing them down. And I often say part of high school and college isn't necessarily about the degree aspect. Part of it is just learning how to learn from everything that you do. And there's no way to actually be successful and learn how to learn unless you're putting everything into that time and effort that you're doing it. If you're taking a class that you don't think you're going to need, it should come off very easy to you. You should put that effort in to find out exactly how much do you understand it and what's complicated and challenging in that class. Why aren't you going to need that in your future? What would that class fit for somebody else for their future? And I think it's a mistake for any of us at any time in our lives to think we know exactly what we're going to be when we do grow up, because I say it all the time where you're not going to retire from your first job. Even if you're a teacher, the chances of you staying at the exact same school that you start in, and you might move and change and grow. You might be teaching classes at one school that you never taught at another school. All of a sudden they might create a business class, and you've got a teacher that was never in business, but now they're responsible for teaching business. So that teacher might have been in high school saying, I'm never going to teach business. I'm going to be an English teacher. So why should I pay attention in this business class? You just don't know exactly what everything is going to be. And it's like networking with people. You don't know who's going to be important and who you're going to be able to lean on and learn from. So it's important to really focus. If you're going to do it and you have to do it and you're there in the moment, put everything you've got into it.
Yeah, and I would say too, just listen to you talk, because you talk about the attitude of I don't need this right now. I've always said attitudes are contagious, and if you start to try to compartmentalize what's important and not important to you, eventually everything becomes unimportant.
Right.
Even the stuff you love. So I like where you're at. Learn from it. Do it. You never know what it's going to be at too. So I definitely love that highlight of that portion of your speech.
Awesome.
One of the things you talked about was Ask Now, and this had to do with networking and talking to individuals such as yourself.
Yep.
So, co-founder of Geneva Supply Company, Interstate Music, creator of Biztank, amazing facility that we're at here today. So one thing I know we've talked about is people such as yourself who are successful are willing to talk to the youth to help guide them and grow. And you in your presentation, you said, make sure you're asking now when they're young. Can you elaborate a little more on that and why?
It's one of those things where if I start to reach out to people on LinkedIn at my age, at my level of career, where I'm at, people start to question what my agenda is, what my purpose is. Am I trying to get information or the way they're doing things to benefit myself and compete with them? It gets competitive once you start getting into your own career, and people start to get really protective of their own knowledge. And they feel as though they went through their experiences and they put their hard time and effort into it, and maybe their hard-earned money into the education of what they're doing, and they don't want to just give it away for free just because somebody's asking it. That's how competitive it gets once everybody starts into their career. But when you've got high school and college age students that they don't feel at risk of sharing information, they actually feel as though they're being asked to help guide and mentor and advise a student-aged kid, because it doesn't feel the same way. So I say all the time, definitely go out there, and every question you could possibly ask somebody that's in a career that you're interested in, now is the time to ask, because it's so authentic. There's no challenge in the way that you're doing it. You're not asking them to break their code of silence on how they got where they are. It's a lot more of a nurturing, helping somebody mature and help them make those next steps. So I now is the time where it's so much easier to get those answers and get that networking and that kind of almost lifelong partnership of building that relationship of somebody that you can go back to. Because if you build that relationship now in communicating, that person's never going to look at you as somebody that's asking for a different kind of reason. They're always going to trust you. So build that trust and that relationship, and start asking those questions now.
And Jeff, I have to thank you for that, and people like you that are successful, willing to have those conversations with our students to help guide them and mentor them. I know it's very important. We talked on stage earlier today when we were just sitting here. Sometimes myself and other staff members that have been with the students for 3, 4, 5 years, they hear us over and over again, and sometimes it falls on deaf ears. So I know those conversations are super important for our kids and families.
Well, and I think that is the business society or the career society, that it's our responsibility, because the future of filling positions for our own companies are high school and college students. And if we're not doing anything to help them figure things out or give them that exposure and experience that they need to make their own decisions and possibly take a path of education that will help get them to where we are, it's not okay for us to say, boy, I'll tell you what, there's just nobody out there, that's worth hiring. And it's up to us to help nurture our communities and our students and our youth to get them that experience and that exposure, because we are going to benefit from that as businesses. So I never understand, you're not allowed to complain about not having great candidates for a job or for the roles that are open at your company if you're not doing anything to reach out and help kids in your community get that exposure to who you are or every other business that's out there, because that's truly what's going to happen. Because as soon as a kid goes to college or doesn't, the first place they're going to look for getting their first job is back home. It's going to be in their community. And if they don't know what every company does, that's every company's fault for not taking that time and having that opportunity.
That's a great point. We definitely want our kids and our top talent to come back to our states.
Absolutely.
I want to make one plug to our students and our families. Our Connect Academy's vision is bridging the gap K-12 educational systems to business partners in industry. utilize our connections with business partners like Jeff to ask those questions. We have a lot of individuals that are willing to talk to you, but you have to find the information and you have to ask the questions. Okay, Jeff, one of the topics that you came up is very, very interesting and almost controversial to a message that we preach in education.
Yep.
And you said you are what they think you are. And to the point where when I listen to your messages, industry and business partners and people in society are going to judge a book by its cover. Can you talk a little bit more about that to our students?
It is controversial because, and sometimes I get nervous in today's society saying certain things. And this is one of those things where it can go both ways, and I understand that, but there has to be a little bit of a reality check of the first impression concept and also what businesses are looking for and how they determine who they're actually going to hire and invest their company's dollars into training and getting up to speed and have them represent their company. So part of it truly is caring and paying attention to how you put yourself out there, whether it's social media, whether it's the way you do one thing, the way you communicate. I hate to say the way you dress or the way you this, because there's a lot of reasons for all of that. But I will say, as individuals, we are responsible for all of those very individual decisions. So it is going to help you get further, or in some cases, hinder you from getting further. And that's just truth. It's not just, you can be a 4.0 student, and if you come off that you don't care and you're kind of not paying attention, you're a little bit aloof in an interview, or I know it all, this and that, you can be the smartest kid in that interview, and you might not get that job. Communication skills are going to matter. Fitting into a company is going to matter. It's not just about the education and the skill sets. It is sometimes just who you are as a person and how you portray yourself. And when it comes to social media and kind of giving that image out there, businesses are going to research and check into who everybody is, because that investment is real. You know, to hire people and pay starting wages, you know, $35,000 to $65,000, sometimes more right out of college, that's a large dollar expense. And training takes time from people that are helping do the training, and that productivity that kind of drops off when you're helping train somebody. And if that doesn't work, you know, it's a lot of time wasted trying to get somebody to be what you want to be. So it's important as individuals to realize we have to start caring about that now, and really figuring out how important it is for you to be exactly who you want to be, because that is that first impression part of it.
And I would say, too, listen to you strategically for people, and we encourage students to be themselves and articulate who you are. But there's a difference between being yourselves on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and how you're portraying yourself, versus maybe Monday through Friday. And students maybe in sales roles that are trying to attract all people maybe need to fit a certain mold for the company they're working for, but you just need to find those balances, I'd say.
And it does, the jobs that you're going for and the jobs that you take or try to experience, it does have to feel comfortable to you. It has to fit you as much as you fit the company. There is a balance of the two. And there are some companies that maybe you just shouldn't go work for because they don't fit what you want. So it's both ways. Businesses need to start to pay attention to what the generations of candidates and future employees are looking for, and how to understand what generation they're in, versus you've got these old school companies that just aren't changing their ways and realizing they're not going to attract young, new, fresh ideas and new talent. So it's not just you having to change who you are or what you're doing. It's not about, you know, I wear this kind of shirt, I always button it up, it's always pressed from the dry cleaners. That's not what I mean. It is being respectful. It is being professional. It is being social. It is still being who you are, but you have to understand it's going to be paid attention to. So if there's some things that you know you're kind of pushing the edge of the envelope, or you know, everybody knows right from wrong. It's also one of those scenarios where when you're going in for an interview and you've researched the company, you know what they're looking for. If you pay attention to the type of employees that are working there already, you know what they're looking for. So don't walk in not being what it is. And if it's not a company you want to work for, don't walk in at all.
Those are some very powerful points. And just to kind of recap the three that jumped out at me, it's got to be a good fit.
Yeah.
You and the employer, and then also do your research ahead of time so you know, is it a good fit for you as well as the employer? Those phenomenal points. And breakdown, like I said, could be a controversial topic, but it is facts and it is reality to help prepare people for their careers.
It is.
Let's talk about the big one, social media.
Yep.
Students buried on their phones, pictures of everything they do, funny, not funny, appropriate, inappropriate.
Yep.
How does social media impact students in their future success with the career world?
Dramatically. It absolutely is the first thing that companies are going to look at when they grab a resume and they look it over to see if it's got some basic skill sets. But then that next thing that they're doing, they're immediately going to go on social media and do a little bit of a background check on who the person is, what platforms are they on, and start looking at some pictures and some videos and seeing a little bit behind the scenes who they are before they bring them in for an interview. Because again, like we've just recently posted a bunch of jobs. We have a ton of candidates that want to work for us. We can't interview all of them. We don't have the time. So there is a screening process that goes on based on skill sets, but it's also looking at social media to find out, is there some stuff out there that they're going to be the face of our company, no matter who it is. If you say that you work for Geneva Supply or Interstate Music and you're out there in the world on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and somebody sees you and knows where you work, you are always a representation of the company. You see it all the times in sports. You know, professional athletes are always expected to be a certain way because they're paid a lot of money and they're the face of a franchise and they're expected to be a certain way. Businesses feel the same way about their employees and team members, that they expect a respectful person to be out there representing themselves. So when you look at social media, I always say when you hit your junior year, it should happen all the time, but when you hit your junior year and you're going to start to fill out college applications or try to go get internships or job shadows, everybody's going to look at that social media. So go in, get your settings figured out, make sure that you get rid of anybody that you don't really know. I said it earlier, you don't have 2,000 friends. Nobody has 2,000 friends. So get rid of the ones that you actually don't know, because you don't know who they are. There are companies out there that are creating profiles literally just to go friend people so that they can get in and see some of the pictures and the rest of it on social media. So you've got to be careful of all of it. And just the safety aspect of anybody in social media, not just kids, but adults too. You hear all the horror stories. You hear about them because they're real. So your social media is that gateway into people figuring you out a little bit, and you've got to be careful of it. So go back all the way to the beginning, check out all the pictures that you posted, all the topics, all the comments, everything that you've kind of done, and give it a once over. And I always say, look at it and say, you're the company and you're looking to hire somebody. Would you hire yourself? Would you trust you? Would you feel as though you're going to represent your company well? And that's a good self-reflection. And I think even the people that are out there doing things they shouldn't be, I think deep down they understand what they're doing that's not right versus wrong, and get that figured out. So it's a big part of maturing and growing up, and it's got to start now, because this is now when everybody's going to get that summer job, internship, job shadow, college application. So now is the time to start really kind of paying attention.
Let's also talk a little bit. I know we've had conversations about this, and you touched on it too. The positive and the importance of a strong social media presence to get
Absolutely.
those jobs too. So we kind of hit on the negatives and what they shouldn't be posting out there, but we've also had those conversations about what's it like if they have no social media presence.
Yeah, it's if there's somebody that I go and look up and they are not able to be found on social media, I know, I think, I don't know clearly, but I immediately think there is some stuff out there that this person is hiding. So there is part of me that thinks social media is also a tool to kind of express yourself in a positive way, share the things that you do, share the experiences, share the work, the job shadows, the internships, the community service that you do. Share that, otherwise nobody knows that you're doing it. Some people would call it bragging. I actually call it just communicating and sharing what your likes and dislikes and things are out there in the world. As you start to gain those experiences and those job shadows or internships or certifications or parts of organizations and extracurriculars, as you start to do that, you should definitely consider getting a LinkedIn profile. And that LinkedIn profile is that future career, this is what I'm defining myself to be. This is how I'm putting myself out there. And I think any employer that's out there that sees somebody that has a solid LinkedIn profile, now it doesn't have to have all these huge jobs. You can put burger flipper at such and such fast food restaurant, but if you're gonna put that, explain a little bit what you got out of that job so people know that you didn't just go flip burgers. You actually were flipping burgers, but this is what you liked about the job. This is what you learned from the job. You learned commitment. You learned about customer service. You learned about the importance of cost analysis, and you had experiences talking to your manager to find out their journeys and stuff. Share some of those things in your earlier LinkedIn posts, just simply because people are going to get a chance to get to know who you are in a path that you're trying to get to.
Jeff, I'm going to make a plug to my family and my students. Research that I've done says that you should start a LinkedIn profile as early as 16 years old. And as you look at the opportunities that not only the Connect Academy at the Muskego-Norway School District provides our students in career growth, there's certifications, certificates, early college credit opportunities that would be a great fit to put on your professional portfolio. I know our students in our career internships get a youth apprenticeship certification from the state of Wisconsin, and this really starts to build you as a professional in a certain career. So I 100% I'm building that positive portfolio. Jeff, as we continued through, one of the things that stood out to me, and I know we're going to have some conversations through our virtual career fair with our counselors on this, but it says your education degrees are an investment. Do your research before investing. Can you talk a little more to that?
It's very expensive. Education is expensive. Outside of high school, you're going to go and you're going to put your time into it, but you're also going to put money into it. Whether it's a loan, whether it's your parents might be the ones that are paying for your education, you might be paying for part of it, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many ways to look at it, but you have to understand, no matter what it is, it's not play money. Either you're getting a full scholarship, that organization, that university, that college is investing in you, and there's a certain accountability that goes with that. If you're getting your schooling paid for by family or some other assistance out there, again, it's their money they're investing into, and you have a responsibility to care about that. Then the flip side is, if you're going to be responsible for paying for your own education and you're taking out student loans, you've got to pay those back. No matter who you think is going to be president someday, it really does come down to, if you take out a loan, you are signing the documentation saying you are going to pay that back based on these terms, and you've agreed upon it. So you can sit there and hope that you're not going to have to pay something back, but you're going to live a long, long, long time hoping on that. So when I say it's your biggest investment, it is financially, to somebody, one of the biggest investments you're going to have. And sometimes it's equal to your first home. And the amount of time and effort that anybody puts into researching their first investment of their home, and we're sitting here looking at going to college and, oh, I really like the campus. It's like, yeah, that's important, but is that really 4 years, 5 years of your life spending those dollars every single year, whether it's on a loan or whatever? It can't just be about liking the campus or, boy, they've got a really good sports program and the football games. I went there on a Saturday and, oh my gosh, it was electric. It was so fun. I want to be part of that. Or, boy, they live in, it's in such a great city. You know, the social life is great. And we get hung up, I think, sometimes. And sometimes parents even say, I really want them to feel comfortable where they're going to school because they're going to be away from home for the first time. I get all that, but I think we all have to have a little self-realization of what that investment is. And there's a whole lot of different ways to get your gen eds classes taken care of. Maybe you go to a community college or a tech school that's local that can transfer credit. Be fiscally responsible for your decision as much as you're going to have to be in the future, because that time that you're putting into it is going to help you get that career and that first job that you want. That's going to get you to a place that you can afford to pay the loans off that you signed on the dotted line when you were 17, 18 years old with your parents.
And I just love how you're framing that picture like it is an investment.
It is.
Make sure you do the right investment, like any other way you'd invest your money. So
Right.
great point.
Well, and I think the other side of it is it's okay to get into that investment and maybe that school, and a year or 2 years into it, realize, oh, this wasn't the right investment. It's very much like, oh, I'm going to pull my money out of this investment and I'm going to put it somewhere else. You can look at your education in the same way. If it's not a fit, it is okay to admit that that wasn't the right decision. At the time you made it, you thought it was. The reasons you made it, you thought it was. It is okay to transfer from one school to another. It happens all the time. Kids get so stressed out about, are all my credits going to transfer? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And if you're unsure that you're nailing your decision, start looking at the school that you're choosing and how do those credits transfer, or start picking classes in that first year that are more likely to transfer because you're committing to something and you're trying it, but you're not positive on it. Because how are we supposed to be positive about that decision out of the gate? We've never lived there. We've never gone there. We might never have, lived away from home at that time. So there is a lot going on in that student's life that could change in that first year. Maybe they thought they could go further away from home for school, and then they realized it's not comfortable for them. It is okay to get in that situation and pivot. And I think it's important for us to realize that we all make bad investments, but it's being smart enough to pull that investment and put it somewhere else that's more positive.
So, Jeff, one thing I want to talk about, you hit on just a little bit, and I just think it is an amazing opportunity for students. Creator of Biztank.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little more about Biztank.
So Biztank came about because as a business owner, and I would say somebody that has gone through a lot of different career paths and different experiences, I started to look at what these kids are up against. We had an internship program, and I see some of the challenges and the struggles. And I've always found myself actually talking to kids, asking them, how'd you like this? What are you thinking about wanting to try, and all this? And I start to realize that career exploration is not easy for a student to have while in high school. And because of curriculums and kind of the set structures within education, it's not easy for teachers and high schools to give those experiences to students either. So I looked at it as an opportunity through all the connections in various careers and industries that I had to create a nonprofit program called Biztank, which is all about career exploration. And I look at career exploration not just about having to go do a job shadow or an internship, but learning about career paths through other people's journeys. And it's amazing when you start to listen to people that have gotten to where they are and where their head was when they were in high school, and what they thought they were going to be, why did they go to college, why didn't they go to college, and what college did they pick and why, and all of those things that the kids are stressing about. Hearing that everybody goes through this stress, and hearing people changing their major in college and getting a finance degree but ending up in education, and realizing that this $150,000 a year job was stressful and not what they thought it was going to be, and then they take a $70,000 a year job because it was something that felt right for them and made them feel as though they were of value. And hearing those paths and those journeys of others is really important for students to hear, and for them to start to relate to and be able to have a chance to ask questions to people in all these different careers and journeys through the time, because you've got all of these different just segments of their life that they've gone through. And I think we're, as people that, as adults that have gone through life, our life is that chance to give and share with students for them to understand it's not all on them, and the more we share with them. And that's what Biztank is all about. I bring speakers in from all over the country in every different career you can imagine, people that I have never even met. This upcoming season, I've got the founder and CEO of Hint Water, and I believe she's out of California. I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and I just simply said, hey, this is this program. You've had this journey. You decided to start a company. What made you change from this, put all this investment in to do this in the beverage industry, which is so difficult? And she is now going to be a speaker for Biztank. And it's because they realize what they went through and what they could share to give kids kind of a look into that type of path. And I think that's where it's great to have that as a tool for students. And I really appreciate and hope that high schools throughout the community share the Biztank story and journey and what that opportunity means, because it is outside of the school. It is outside the curriculum, and those kids get that opportunity to do it. And I'm not just looking for A students. I'm looking for every single student that is looking to try to figure things out for themselves. And it is this opportunity for them to do exactly that.
So, and we talked a little bit about this program. How would students get involved in this program if interested?
So if you go to biztanknonprofit.org, you're going to be able, or all of the social media platforms that we're out on, you're going to be able to see what the program is, some past speakers, and you're going to be able to register for the upcoming spring season that starts on April 7th. And it's because of the whole COVID situation, we are virtual. So everything is through Zoom webinar. So in the comforts of your home, I'm going to bring in these speakers, and it's a live open forum. And I'm going to be asking questions very similar to kind of how we're talking about things right now, but all the students from wherever they are across the country are going to be able to send questions in, go through a moderator, and we'll ask those questions for them. And they're going to get a chance to hear stories and journeys of other people from all over the country. Once we get to go live again, hopefully this upcoming fall, we'll actually be able to have kids live in the event spaces that we have, and have some of the speakers be able to come in and be live here and give the kids a chance to go out there and feel as though they're taking steps for themselves for what their future looks like.
Is there a spot still for the April sessions via Zoom?
They're unlimited. The one thing that is nice about the virtual side of it is we can have 17,000 kids from across the country watching it. When we go live, we do have it is a scholarship-based program. So you get scholarship dollars for coming and staying throughout the entire season towards continuing education after you graduate. But for the virtual side of it, it is open, and it's open to students, high school students, college students, parents, teachers, because we can all kind of learn and be able to ask, you know, our kids questions afterwards. What'd you think about that type of thing? So it's much more of an open forum. Even when we do go back live with kids able to be here in person, we will be capping out between 75 and 100 kids for the live sessions for the scholarship portion, but we're still going to stream it live. So the virtual thing definitely did open that up. So the virtual side will be open for any parents, kids of all ages across the country, for them to still participate.
And I'm going to make a quick plug to our students and their families. This goes right back what Jeff talked about earlier with that networking with owners and people that have companies that are willing to talk to you to help guide you. This is a phenomenal opportunity, phenomenal program. If you can take advantage of it virtually this upcoming spring here, or even next fall, do it, and then really do look into it, because like Jeff said, this is a scholarship opportunity for participation. To me, so I get knowledge and I get money. I couldn't ask for anything else.
Well, and I think the funny thing is every year I will get past speakers that will reach out and message me and say, hey, it looks like Biztank started up again. Because as I start talking about networking and building that LinkedIn profile during the Biztank seasons, the kids start building their profile, and then they go back to all the past speakers that we've ever had, and they start trying to connect to them. And all the speakers know that if they see that they're a biz kid on their LinkedIn profile, that they're going to connect with them. They are part of the Biztank family from here on out. So it is an open door for all past speakers that they're going to connect with you. And if you do have questions for all the different past careers, because all of those speakers' videos are up there for you to stream in class, for the kids to watch. So it's not just having to move forward with the speakers that we have. You get to go back and see what we have had in the past as well.
Got me sold, Jeff. I want to sign up.
Good stuff.
As we close out our virtual career fair, I want to say thank you to all parties that helped participate to make this opportunity happen, to provide the networking opportunities, the information for our students to learn, grow, and succeed in their future career paths. I want to thank Geneva Supply Company and Interstate Music for having us out on the facilities to record a lot of our videos. I want to thank Jeff Peterson for being our keynote speaker and his team for helping us put this production on. Thank you, and we will keep these materials out for our students and staff and community to use, located on our website, so you can reference back to them as needed. And as we said in earlier presentations throughout the virtual career fair, just ask questions. Ask your counselors. You can ask me or other staff members, and we will help you and guide you on next steps in your career path. Thanks again, and have a great day.